trophies argument, you lost. Because the 5 years preceding Arteta, there were more trophies than the 5 years of Arteta. So that fact is there. Then you went to champions.
No.
So you have to define the success.
I made the point.
Yeah.
And the first indicator I said was they didn't make Champions League football in those 5 seasons.
Define
and
the
you
success.
said, but they won 3 trophies.
Yes.
So you are using the FA Cup as, and you are a typical
let's
Ten
define
Hag person.
success. We
You
must
are a
have-
typical
no,
Ten
but
Hag
we
person.
must
Where
have-
a big team like Arsenal will finish outside top 4 places, win FA Cup, and you define it success. That's for you success. It's fine.
Palace at home to Man City.
Palace or draw.
2 teams who struggled and got their
Palace or draw.
No, I think City will win.
Master, the goal of Maguire. The God of Maguire.
I think City will win. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mallam Goal Podcast by Betway. We're back again. Yo, Charlie, we are recording this podcast. I'm sure the day you will see this podcast will be the day you are going to cast your vote, because we are recording this podcast exactly 2 days.
2 days to the election,
to
man.
the 2024 election. The most important elections in our history as a country. You finish voting Saturday, Sunday, by quarter, Sunday evening. We'll be able to next level.
No be a chocolate.
Bottom line though, welcome back. Daniel is here, Sicho is here, Achu is here. Coach will join us along the way. He's stuck in traffic. We're recording the podcast around the time when the two parties are doing rallies. Big rallies.
Constituencies next door.
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie, where we record our podcast.
Stone.
That's right.
Look, so we're in the middle of the delivery. We are in Hacho.
Yes.
Now, MPP are in Legon.
Yes.
And then NDC are in Medina.
Yes. And coach
So-
is coming from Roman Ridge.
Oh, eyelids.
And we are in the middle of it.
He's on the way.
Yes,
Listen, but guys, it's good to be back, man. It's good to be back. It's been a very interesting week. Midweek Premier League football for the first time this season, no? I think so, yeah.
This season? First time?
Yeah, midweek
Yeah,
Premier
Premier
League.
League.
Premier League games, yeah. So we saw FA Cup, Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
League
exactly.
Cup, FA Cup, but not Premier League.
Yeah.
Premier League.
And it's one of my absolute favorite things, because the midweek Premier League games, there's always some bunker somewhere.
He always produces plenty goals.
It does.
Plenty
Always
goals.
produces plenty. I'm glad you noticed that. So that's what. So we will look back on those matches with an eye on the matches coming up this weekend. And there was not only just EPL games, there was also La Liga games.
Yeah.
And the subject that we discussed last week.
My brain won't pull.
Oh, by the way, I have to.
I tell you.
No,
Charlie,
it's true.
Charlie,
By the
Charlie.
way, I just remembered. We have to welcome him back. This man has not been here.
Yeah, you know,
He's not been here in like 4 episodes in
Yeah,
a row.
welcome back, bro.
No, I came
Going
for
for the
Black
life.
Stars.
Yeah,
Game of
yeah,
Black
yeah,
Stars,
yeah.
that's
I came
right.
for the Black
So you
Stars.
missed what? 2?
I
Or
missed
Three.
Two.
Three. He's missed 3.
One
missed
in
4.
between.
He's missed
Wow.
4
I
actually.
missed 2 before.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
then
Black
Black
Stars
Stars, then
brought
2
you
after
back.
that. So far. Welcome back to the crib, yo.
Yeah.
That was brother, why is he doing that to
Charlie,
me?
Last week, we did everything here to try and support Mbappe. Oh. Charlie, it's not going well. Oh. It's like the guy is
I
trouble.
agree with you.
But there's another, yeah.
The thing is bigger than him.
But there's
Figuratively
Susulo.
and literally.
Even the run-up in this Bilbao penalty, like I found the whole thing very awkward.
It was the same penalty like the Liverpool
That's what
one.
I'm saying. Like, it
same
didn't
thing,
seem, there was
No
no
conviction.
confidence.
Yeah, like,
but like
Mbappe.
before this game, last week we had this conversation.
Yes.
Then I was watching the game yesterday. I was like, when was the last time really Mbappe had a good run? So I went back to last season.
Mhm.
Then I realized that even for PSG,
started dipping. At the
he
end of
started
the season,
dipping,
yeah.
get to the
Then
and
he
we went to the Euros and
didn't
he-
work.
then so
for a
it's-
long
It's
time.
not like it's
not like it's
but
Real Madrid.
we've been like Ebeba, it's Mbappe, Ebeba. Charlie, for some time now, the guy
We've
hasn't been.
overlooked.
And if you look at,
signs.
and we're blaming other things. Can you remember for PSG,
The
especially the
centre
Champions
forward,
League,
yeah.
we're saying that Luis Enrique, and we agree, Luis Enrique is some way. And so we thought that was it. We saw him in the game against Dortmund, is it?
Yeah.
In the Champions League semis,
2 legs. Yeah.
the 2 legs, Mbappe.
Took like
some way.
75 minutes before
So that was the
from
Barca.
himself.
That was the Barca.
Barca was quarter final.
Barca was quarter
He
final.
ghosted
He
out.
goes to that
after
onto the red card and then he
where
bumped
come,
up.
yeah.
Then against
that's
Dortmund,
right.
against Dortmund,
You know, sit
Queen.
up. You know, sit up.
Then he goes to the Euros and we're like, oh, he broke his nose. Actually, Osimhen and Tiso have broken their eye and things that they are doing things. But still, so it's been a while since Mbappe really had a
You
good
have a
run of
point.
form.
No,
You
it
have
talks
a point.
something.
You have a
So
point.
something must have been going on with Kylian because it's not only a
And
Real
maybe the
Madrid
girl.
thing.
Maybe the girl he left.
Yeah, there's
The other thing about this period, prolonged period of not being at it, is that physically he's not been there. So you realize that something very odd happened when he reported for training for preseason with Real Madrid, because typically when players go for off-season major competition like that, and then they report for preseason in record time, there is not a great lax in terms of the physical condition that they left and what is required for the beginning of preseason.
Okay.
But Mbappe reported, and is it Pinto, the Madrid physical instructor? Pinto's perception, and in fact his assessment basically was that this guy is off it. So if you realize, you have to put him on a special regime for some days just to get him in tune to. And what that just goes to show you is that beyond the performance and everything, there's been a physical drop-off that PSG have tolerated for a year. That France have not necessarily pushed him. And here's the thing. If you look at the way Deschamps sets up his team, his forwards don't need to be the most athletic because it is not high-octane football from minutes 1 to 90. They have a lot of time to rest because he doesn't require his forwards to press on the front foot and then engage too often.
Especially Mbappe.
Mbappe.
So physically, systems have
Protected him in a way.
Have protected him without requiring him to be at his optimum. There is a Luis Enrique bit that you mentioned. But for me, at the base of everything that an athlete does is your physical condition. If that is off, it is very difficult for you to then find every other thing, right? Because your mind cannot be sharp when the body is not fit. So you can anticipate a pass. You can see, and footballers, if you look at the positions Mbappe often likes to take, for example, even the Liverpool game, he could play in the pockets of spaces between the the right back,
the full back and the center back.
He will see the play beginning to develop and then start taking off. But if he doesn't have the right physical condition, if he's not sharp enough, he will see it, but he will take off late. That perhaps may explain the multiple offsides we've seen of him in that Barcelona game especially.
So, even yesterday, offside first half.
Yeah, so it is easy to say that but you, because of how quick you are, you can actually give the defender half an inch a head start.
A yard or two,
and you will
still be able to.
But
to
Mbappe possibly knows that physically he's not in.
So he's taking up quicker than usual.
Yes.
No, but Charlie, I think it's psychological.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think it's
the Madrid, no. The Jesse
but the
big.
penalty, yeah.
No, it's not the penalty.
It's everything
when
else.
He has the ball.
Yes.
In Mbappe's situation,
it's
like isolated the one-on-one with the defender.
He's
even afraid. Yeah. He's afraid to take them on safe. Like
yesterday, he got some 1v1.
Where they do some things. Where the ball go kick. Actually, I've got taboo. I said,
what are you doing?
Did you see my tweet? I tell you, like Mbappe, they play like Dan James Small. Like
I saw that tweet.
No, it was right after that 1v1. Yeah. Because like I can't even
see Bellingham's reaction to that.
Yeah, like he said,
why?
You know, no, but seriously, like you said, I think, and unfortunately for Mbappe, the whole Madrid team is not. See, they don't have the luxury for you to slack.
Yeah.
See, you can walk him.
Moments are important.
You can walk into a team where everybody is playing so well, and you might need all the time in the world to fit in because everything else around you is well. Tchouaméni they sit up. Fede Valverde is only running like some. Camavinga can't stay fit. Jude Bellingham can't find the position that he can own. And
even Modric said he shall.
Modric he old papa, so we can. Carvajal heads.
So make it.
Fernand Mendy.
If I got her, like he go retire, make cruise day.
Yeah, but some way. Like everybody in the team,
there are issues.
So the team itself is not breathing.
Yeah.
And you two, you know the fee.
But have you noticed that Rodrigo, over like the past 8-9 months, the guy they try raising brand small.
Yeah,
you follow up on social media. This is
a video they pass by.
They play. He go announce in return. He say, here we go. We post some video. I say, hey, this boy.
The optics are as important as the substance.
Master Anthony do some,
And the Madrid dip in form is coinciding with a return to form of Barcelona. Lamine Yamal, what an assist. Brothers.
That assist even in FIFA say if you know go make him.
That's his third try.
I said that assist even in FIFA.
They ask him in the interview, hear what he talk.
I know.
He say, how they play that boy? So I guess you should press L2.
The
boy to get some shit tree for him, but if they ask
Jay-Z, baby.
He knows what he's doing.
Jay-Z, baby.
No, but that guy is.
That's about the third time he's tried to travel like this.
No, see, this one is
you
different.
need a brilliant analysis
This one,
on there.
see, you see,
I wish
if you play ball before, you say if you be lefty.
Yeah.
The distance between the defensive line and the goalkeeper,
Yeah.
it was too acute
Yeah.
for him to like this pass.
To
You
go
know,
with the
small
outside,
pass.
it's special.
It's sick.
He's special.
Anyway, so for the first time in 4 matches, Barcelona have won a game in La Liga. So they're back with winning ways.
It was 4 games.
Yes, this
yeah,
was the
yeah,
fourth
yeah.
match. They had lost.
I don't see.
No,
They lost
2
2 and drawn 1.
They had drawn 1 and lost 2. And this was the fourth one.
Fourth
they were
game.
playing. So that's that. Good for them. Listen.
Wait, before you continue. Charlie, where my camera did?
This is your camera.
Charlie, Hansi Flick, I beg you, that Gerard Martin guy no was climb out on the team and bring Odro because Charlie, if Odro's competition is Charlie guy is sound. Hey, Gerard Martin was some brutal. I don't go lie.
It's okay.
How did the guy? How is he in Barcelona?
It's okay.
No, he can't play football.
It's okay.
See, the last farmers game, body hurts. No, I say the guy already announced his son, but I felt like maybe I was the one who was watching him at the wrong time. So I said this one here, fella. Last one. Charlie, the guy in first stage. He did do that. He say, I'm going to Charlie. The guy sound
Charlie, shouts to some of our listeners. I met this guy at the airport this morning. He says his name is Sakara.
Sakara.
He says
Sakara is
not
spotted.
just him, he and the entire airport staff. Big fans of Mallam. You saw me, he said Mallam Goal. I said,
That's
I
right.
love that.
Oh, airport staff. I play on Wednesdays when I play
Mallam
football.
Goal is quite popular.
I play football with a lot of the airport staff, from Cable to Kwame to Stylee.
Stylee.
All of them.
Stylee, we play.
Stylee get the ball. The way you go 10-10.
Stylee.
But you know what about Stylee? If you dey stand there, me I be Stylee, you dey stand there. I go pass the ball to you. I no go pass. I go dribble fence you. They can't dribble at you.
Before you go past.
Then I don't go pass. So I go bring the ball to you the way. If I take give you don't get choice. So I pass back to me.
I love that.
It go be run the ball into you. So it touch for you. It touch for you like. Omani be fucking guy. Big shout to the boy.
There's only one Ghanaian footballer that can do what he does. It's called polo to polo. Do you understand the concept of polo to polo? Mame polo. It can be polo to polo. Say we the only player where he defeat pass the ball from polo to polo. Where you know what you mean by that?
They pass to him body.
Yeah, if they come with the ball, you see how they knock the ball in front. They pass your back. They go take. That is polo to polo. But on a more serious note, listen, especially, and Achu is the biggest. Achu is the biggest, like the biggest. I'm not even joking. Those of you who listen to the podcast on audio platforms, your biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? Your biggest
enforcer.
Don't know the one who hey.
Shout out.
English out. English. Where did my English go? No, the word I'm looking for, I must find it.
No,
he's an advocate for the one.
The biggest advocate.
Yeah.
That's what I was that's what I was going to say, enforcer, because he enforces that it goes on the
yes. Thank you, enforcer. Yes. But the word I was looking for was
that's right.
It was advocate. Is your biggest advocate. It's like, look, every time the episode is done recording, he's checking out for the audio platforms first, even before it goes on YouTube. Yeah. But on a more serious note, guys, even before we go on, look, we have to say, look, I'm sure we will record another episode to say our big thank you to a lot of people who have helped this podcast grow. But the reason I wanted to chip this in is because this week I've seen that a lot of people are doing raps.
Yeah.
Spotify raps. And Apple Music raps.
That thing is humbling.
Yeah. No, Apple Music, they call it replay. And then Spotify rap. and I see that Mallam Goal
and YouTube music is recap.
And I see that Mallam Goal is in the top 5 of a lot of people who are tagging us. Listen, if you listen to us on audio platforms, whether Apple or whether it's on Spotify, and you're doing your podcast rap, let's see if we are in the top 5. Put us in there, tag us. Even if we are in your top 10, we like. Okay, so long as you listen to us, we are very happy and we appreciate the time that you spend listening to this podcast. We only continue to grow, continue to get bigger, and we appreciate you guys a lot. So thank you so much. God bless you. And to our YouTube viewers as well. Listen, those of you who keep subscribing, look, it's not like we don't understand the very unique and very different style of podcast that we do here. You know, ordinarily, a podcast like this would sit on its own YouTube platform. Yeah. All right. But it sits on Betway platform because Betway are big sponsors. Okay. And we know that there are some people that don't even want to subscribe because they don't want their wives to see that they've subscribed to a betting platform. But we have 10.4K subscribers.
Yeah,
you come to subscribe for the listen, guys. Look, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
God bless you. Those of you leave comments, those of you share the content, those of you who see us and give us shouts. And there's this guy who does better than Sultan when it comes to promoting the podcast with short videos on Twitter.
Yeah.
Every day.
They
be like he has put a thing on notification.
Yeah,
because sometimes I see his video.
I was checking one. I was playing one of the videos.
I need to find him and give him shouts.
Mbappe settling into Madrid and said this one's boys pattern.
Yeah.
Like every day there's something.
That's
and to all the guys who actually spread the word to their colleagues and friends, we appreciate you.
Oh yes. You know, and it's amazing to see that, like, and this is organic growth, you know, like.
No, yes.
Mallam Goal is just vibes and stuff, and
I'll do this for like.
And you can find that guy for me. I'll give him some.
No, I like the whole. You know, after every episode, people have got different opinions, and we appreciate that. It's the whole point. Yeah. We share ours, you drop yours. I mean, yeah. So it's amazing. So we appreciate all that.
We've got a lot to go through. Listen, I want us to get to some topics first, because the biggest topic we'll talk about is looking at Arsenal, looking at Liverpool, and Mohamed Salah's situation. You know, after the game, that 3-3 draw against Newcastle, I saw a tweet from CAF. You know what the tweet was? 1 of 1.
Yeah.
1 of 1. Meaning, like, there's no other player in a better form right now than Mohamed Salah. But we'll talk about Salah. Sicho, I want to begin with you because today on a Chelsea platform, like, some people tagged me and said, I must ask Sicho to eat back his words on Chelsea, and he must praise Enzo Maresca. I told them that Sicho has said he won't comment on Chelsea, especially on Twitter, because the people have harassed him, so he has left your team for you. But Sicho, the people say it's not true. You just find it very convenient because right now the team hit tough form. So
but I said it before.
Go past some place.
I said it before. Mad Day 2. Mad Day 1, Chelsea lost their game. Mad Day 2, I said I won't comment on Chelsea again. Something. And me, I'm a very honorable man. I stick to my words.
But on the pod, I don't think we've adequately discussed their current form.
No, we've not.
Exactly.
And
so that's what I want to talk about. Yesterday, XG against Southampton over 5. The highest XG any team has recorded away from home in the history of the Premier League. Can you believe that? Like, it's unbelievable.
Since Opta started in 2006 or 2004, one of them.
Yeah.
So that'd be crazy.
It's crazy.
Wait. So you are telling me that the 9-0 that...
Yes, the XG would not reach that place.
Oh, Chelsea.
You understand? So, and then obviously yesterday they won with Team B, right? We can call it that.
A mixture.
Yeah, that's what Maresca calls it.
Actually, Nkunku is trying now with Team B. Okay?
Yeah, with Team B. The question is, despite Chelsea's form right now, second in the league, second highest scorers in the league, or is it even first? I think Chelsea are.
They probably are first now.
Yeah. Hold on, let me check. Chelsea probably have scored the most goals.
Yeah, they have. They have now.
Yes, 31 goals. The highest scorers in the league, second on the table. they are 7 points behind Liverpool. They've got wonderful footballers all around. They've got a manager that knows what it's like to win. He led Leicester to a championship. To win a championship, let me put it that way. The championship itself is longer than the Premier League. So they do have a manager that has experience of going the long run to win the competition. Question is, why is it that still people don't think that Chelsea are title contenders? Like, in the conversation, Chelsea aren't mentioned at all.
I don't think Chelsea are not mentioned at all. I think Chelsea are mentioned in some quarters, especially by Chelsea fans. But Chelsea themselves as a club are trying to downplay it. And that's also, that's smart because you've got a very young squad, inexperienced. You don't want to start mounting that expectation and weight of pressure on them. So you want to manage it. You want to take it a game at a time. And so when Enzo Maresca himself was asked about if they were title contenders, he said, no, they are very far from there. But I also think that when you look at the results across this season, there's one significant sticking point as to why Chelsea might not be in the title conversation.
Okay.
It is because Chelsea are beating the teams they expected to beat. But if you want to win the title, you have to start beating teams like Man City, teams like Liverpool, teams like Arsenal. Like, these are the teams you have to start winning against. So Chelsea this season have not done that yet. Even though they've had some decent results and performances in some of those games, they've not crossed that line. So when Chelsea, in the second half of the season, by that time, if this Chelsea team have more personality, have more confidence, and can then play an Arsenal team and win against Arsenal, beat a Man City team, go on and face Liverpool and beat them, then we can start having that conversation. Because if Chelsea are competing in the league with Liverpool, maybe Arsenal, maybe if City do bounce back.
City are only 2 points, actually 1 point behind Chelsea and Arsenal.
And if City do get back into the title conversation, then if City beats Chelsea and Liverpool beats, Chelsea and Arsenal are beating Chelsea, or Chelsea are not getting favorable results from those games, then they are very much in the competition. So when you look at the first half of the season, these are games they've not won. These are games they've
lost
been
at home to Man City. Lost away to Liverpool. Drew against Arsenal
Arsenal at home.
Drew against Man United.
Drew against Man United away. And so you are looking at those games and are thinking, if they're going to win the title, these are games they should be crossing the line. So far, they've not done that. But you see, the games that they are winning is only going to grow the team's confidence and ability, and if you like, personality. And if they can leap from there to the next level, which is beating these teams we've already mentioned, then we can seriously start looking at Chelsea and be thinking that they could go all the way to the very. But I still don't think that they are ready. I think it's come too early for them. I think Enzo Maresca has surprised everybody, including even Chelsea fans themselves, how quick he's been able to do this job. So there's massive credit to be given to him, because truth is, he's working with an impossible group of number of footballers in the club, that he has almost a completely different set of two different sets of teams, and all of them playing very similarly, means that he's drilling into them his principles, which is now very sound to all the players who have bought into it. But one thing I like about him is that he's an honest coach. He's very honest. So even the players who have not had to start in the first team, when they've proved themselves in games that he's giving them, they found their way in the first team. And footballers are not stupid. They appreciate that. Footballers know that if I work hard, the manager will have a looking at me. And it's been honest enough to tell players like Ben Chilwell, players like Chalobah and others who, he told Chilwell he was never going to play. And Chilwell is still at Chelsea. He's not playing. Yeah. That is an honest coach. Like, he's honest. He's being honest with you. And he's been honest with all the lads. We don't even know because it's not part of the plans.
Right? He's
not part of.
No, he's not. Enzo said it from day one.
I just remember that he's still at Chelsea.
No, he doesn't train with the first team. Sterling wouldn't have played if he stayed. He was honest. And so all the players are working. And when you look at some of the players and the way he's improved them, brought their confidence to a certain level. Key amongst them will be, everybody knows the ability of Caicedo, but he wasn't playing at his full ability. But it's a different animal.
This is the best football Caicedo has played in his entire career.
Yeah, I could agree. I think he's even looking better than he was at Brighton.
Yes, exactly.
He actually makes Chelsea.
It's several levels above.
Maybe because of the level.
Maybe because he's really stepped up.
Profound.
We know Cucurella gave us all these signs that he could be what he is now. We saw him with the Spanish national team, brilliant, but he's come on to continue that. We've seen some other players under him. Even now, Jackson is key. Like
even Enzo's last 5 matches, he's contributed 7 goals.
Yeah. So he's gradually, and you look at Enzo. Enzo went to play in that Conference League team for a while because it was Lavia, Palmer, and then Caicedo. Yeah. And now Enzo is playing his way back into the first team. And like I said, the manager rewards people. We saw Neto and Madueke, Neto and Sancho. That when Neto started proving that he could be the pick, he picked him ahead of the others. And so
then Noni comes saying ahead of Neto in Wednesday's game, and he's man of the match.
He's giving the manager something to think about. And Danny mentioned it. Jackson, I think for me, we always spoke about Jackson last season. The problem he had was his composure and his calmness when he got into goal scoring positions. He was never calm. He was never relaxed enough. The ball was almost always stuck in his legs. Didn't sort his feet well enough. At times, ran ahead of the ball. At times, just didn't snap at the shot. But what we've seen of the player now is a player who's in very high confidence. Like when he's in a goal scoring position, he's calmer. And the scary thing about Jackson is he looks like a player who can still go on several other levels. He looks like he has about 10 more steps to go, right? And so if he can keep building on that, he scores some brilliant goals. And more importantly, scoring at very crucial times in games. He's scoring the first goals, he's scoring the equalizers, he's at times scoring the winners. And that is what you need off your striker. That is a sign of a player who's confident, you know. So yeah, Enzo is doing a great job. I still don't think Chelsea will win the league. I still think that he's doing a decent job. But my point again is to all Chelsea fans is, if playing top four and qualify to Champions League was the goal, they didn't have to spend the 1.3 or 1.5 billion you've spent.
Now you're adding point something.
No, it's 1.5.
1.5 billion.
No, it's 1.5.
1.15.
Okay, now let me tell you this. Chelsea playing the Conference League.
Yes.
The worth of the entire Chelsea squad is 1.5 million US dollars.
Billion.
1.5 billion US dollars. The worth of the rest of the teams in the Conference League is 1.4 billion US dollars.
I'm asking you where you are getting the Chelsea 1.5 from. That was my question. Not your.
No, that's how much Chelsea has spent.
How? Where?
Oh,
show me.
I'm not talking about players who've sold.
Proof?
I'm not talking about players. I'm talking about players who bought.
I'm saying that it's propaganda. Chelsea did not spend 1.5 billion.
Okay, so how much did you spend? How much did you spend?
That one there, I won't tell you.
Okay. Back to my point.
But we didn't spend 1.5 billion. There are people, they started with 1 billion.
Okay, let's say 1 billion.
Then now they've gone to 1.5 billion.
Fantastic.
Keep adding the money.
Now, so in the period that you spend that 1 billion or how much you've ever spent, if the goal was not to win immediately or the goal was not to win the big things now,
they didn't need to spend that much.
Because when they took over the club, the season before they took over the club played in top four. In fact, when they took over the club was in Champions League. And the team that was in Champions League, you didn't have to disband that entire team, spend all this money not to win. And that has always been my problem with the project. The problem hasn't been that Chelsea would never be good. The problem has been that, for me, it looks like a joke when you spend that much to only get back to what you were doing before you bought the club.
So the changes were too drastic.
In the period that they did it, they didn't have to spend
that they did it.
Yeah.
With no result for the amount invested.
Absolutely.
The numbers you asked for. According to Opta analysts, it is over 1 billion.
What is over 1 billion? Why Opta? No, they don't have a specific figure.
I'm giving you a variety of reports. Per the BBC, in 2022-23 alone, Chelsea spent £747 million. The wage bill rose by 18% to 404 million.
Forget wage bill. How much did we spend?
No, so those are so that's just
in the period.
According to CIES, you know CIES.
Yes.
Everybody knows
Football
CIES.
Observatory.
Thank you. Chelsea squad worth right now, as at October 2024, which is this season, is $1.39 billion.
That is
That's
the
like
squad
1.4.
worth. That's
like
different than the amount spent. So we're talking about
how much each player in the squad
that's
worth.
not
is
how, no. The CIES is not.
It's not value. I'm not looking at valuation.
The worth of the
Squad worth, how much you paid for each member of the
it's
squad.
not all of them that were bought during the period. So I mean, the point.
But let's the players. Almost all of them were bought during the period, apart from maybe 2 players. Only Reece James and who? Only Reece James and who?
You just mentioned that Chilwell.
Oh, Chilwell is not part of this. Chilwell in Casper squad.
Why? Go through.
He's not registered. Chilwell is not a Chelsea. He's not registered.
Hold on. The Chelsea players that were bought under the Clearly Capital ownership. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Kuku was bought by them.
In Kunku.
No,
Cucurella.
Cucurella.
They bought him
It
for
was their fair signing.
Was
Graham
Was
Potter.
Yes.
their first sign.
Their fair
Yes.
signing. No, even before Potter.
Even
came.
yes.
They came the season they took
they-
over.
yes.
That's true.
No.
That's
Apart
true.
from they actually did. They've done away with everything Abramovich, and have brought their own. The only surviving blood is
Is
James.
James.
And even they've done him something.
Hey,
so he
that's a
can't
lot
play.
of changes. Oh.
So no. So that's always been my point. My point is, if Chelsea were spending this money in this short period to only come back to doing what they were doing before this clear came, they're not getting.
I know, fair enough.
Yeah.
Danny, hey, are Chelsea title contenders or no?
That's not the question I want to answer. I want to touch on what Situ said. It's very important. I said this 2 seasons ago in relation to the Premier League top 4 race.
Mhm.
Like if you enter the season with your ambition to finish in the top 4, you are most likely going to finish outside the top 4
Mhm.
because Arsenal are going into the season to win the title. So they're expecting a title challenge. Man City are going in to win. Liverpool are going in to win. And Chelsea clearly have readjusted their season ambition and now they want to win the title. So all these teams are aiming for the sky. So the ones who are aiming for the roof and this one, no, you are most likely going to fall outside. And I think it's a very good and impressive. These are the things that
mentality shift.
attract me.
Yes.
That's what a big team does. You might look at the start of the season and say, okay, fine. But you are a big team and you are supposed to challenge for the big trophies. So they started, yes, it didn't start too well with a Man City loss. But after like 5 or 6 games, they had built up form. And now you can clearly tell that this Chelsea team, and they believe, they have a group of players who came in knowing the weight of the badge that they are wearing.
Yeah.
You are going into every season wanting to win. So I have no issue and no problem with Chelsea going game by game, expecting to win and expecting to be part of the top guns. It's not, it is what is in front of you. Look, Leicester started our season. They wanted to survive relegation. At Christmas, they were in top 4. By New Year, ending of January,
I think
they
they
were.
go do juju. You go bring monks from
No, it's
Thailand
game.
and things.
It's game. Even they, with that relegation mentality,
Yeah.
were able to
Went
adjust
all the
it.
way.
So Chelsea, after 10, 12 games, you are how many points? Is it 7 or 8 points behind the leaders?
7 points.
Seven.
And Liverpool will drop. They will continue to drop. I mean, I told you, Liverpool continue. They are lucky.
No, I actually think that
But
yes.
a draw
I think that
away at
Wednesday,
Newcastle.
Liverpool were rather unlucky.
Yeah, a draw at Newcastle
And
is a very good result.
The
But the
goalkeeping
first-
ban
but
on
What
that.
about the second
The
half?
first half.
What about the second half?
First half.
What about the second half?
Even the second half.
What are
Even
you
the
saying?
second half. Look at the chances. See,
Most of us is waiting good work by heart.
Massa, that you see that Mo Salah chance. Go check the. You see, go check.
No, but if it's Salah, you can use
The
it.
goalpost, no.
Massa, that thing no be chance. Oh, if it's Salah, pay, he go make
That's
that
what I'm
chance.
saying.
Look, that's different.
That Weezy gets empty net.
Messi,
You know, connect.
Messi, keeper come up from the pole inside.
Fair enough. Finish your Chelsea point, and then we'll go into the Liverpool matter.
Point is, I'm just warning the people who are.
But isn't that a sign of a title winning team? Like games that are tough, like we still don't lose.
No, Boba.
Like you see, this is like hypocrisy in football.
How?
Yeah, I've said this matter before.
If it's a City or Arsenal, we will say
but
that
you see, no.
that is a mark of a title winning
Maybe
team.
say them.
In
But
a-
me, I didn't.
in a game that didn't play well.
We City. Boga. You know, be like 3 weeks, last 6 weeks ago. You dey talk say this is City. This is the figure it out. No.
But they figured it out. They're only 1 point behind us now.
Ah.
Man City.
Next
But
to-
it's a
Let's
serious-
find
it's a
all
serious
their
thing, though.
troubles. I swear.
No, because there was a gap that had already been established, and you see, the defeats they are.
But we are
City
saying
are
that-
lucky that they are playing other competitions. So
But the Nottingham Forest games, I
it's
don't
just
play
3
well.
Premier League games that they've dropped points in a row. It's 3. The rest of them are games.
The 3 were 9 points, brother.
They
Bugger.
didn't lose. Like they didn't lose.
Who should?
They didn't
Who
lose 3
should?
games in a row.
They lost 3 games in a row.
No, not in the Premier League.
No, in the Premier League.
Not in the Premier
champ.
League. They lost 2 and drew 1.
That's
In the Premier League.
Still, that's 8 points dropped. Even if that was the case.
They lost to Brighton.
Brighton.
They lost to Liverpool. Then in between that, they
Liverpool
lost.
was a recent one.
Yes, they
I'm
lost
saying
to.
before the Liverpool one came after the draw. I'm saying that's 6 games in a row.
No,
that
they lost
or
3.
5 games in a
They
row.
lost
Bournemouth,
against Spurs.
Brighton,
They lost against
Spurs.
Spurs. Yeah, Bournemouth, Brighton, Spurs. Yes, and then Liverpool 4.
Bro.
They lost 4 Premier League games.
But
Yeah,
if you remember, Arsenal.
they only drew against Feyenoord in that period. Though.
Chelsea, no, they drew against Feyenoord. They lost against Spurs in Carabao Cup. They
Yes.
lost against Sporting.
I'm saying the only draw they had
And
in
lost
that
against
spell
Spurs in the
was
league.
In the
Feyenoord.
league, in the
So
league.
they lost against Spurs in
No,
league.
but I'm saying that Arsenal start to the season and Chelsea start to the season. Chelsea and Arsenal were out of the title race after like game week 8.
Why they are back?
Then, they are back.
Okay.
Then City started losing.
That's
So
what
there
we're
was already
saying.
a gap that had been established. So
Yeah, that's
it's not
what-
like Arsenal and City
But
were
the-
at the same
But yeah,
level.
but the point we are making is that it still doesn't negate the fact that Manchester City are still in the title race. Despite that
they are
really
not in the
poor run
title
of form.
race.
They're only 1 point behind those two teams, Chelsea and Arsenal, who are supposed to be in top form.
Nobody said they are. The team.
We're just talking about Chelsea.
But Chelsea are in top form.
No, Chelsea are in top form.
And Arsenal have returned to top form.
You see,
Man City are 1 point behind them.
You are just a typical Ghanaian journalist.
But Arsenal have won the first 3
Arsenal
consecutive
returned
games.
top four.
This is a typical Ghanaian journalist.
Have Arsenal not returned top
So
four?
if Man United wins 5 games in a row, they are in top form.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that they are title challengers. If Chelsea and City and Arsenal and Liverpool also win their 5 games.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the two can be. So don't
Yes.
add the two like
No,
what
but
are
you see,
doing.
no,
He's a typical Ghanaian journalist.
but the point remains valid.
This is
That
what
while
you do.
Manchester,
People don't take us serious.
Manchester City were dropping points, you that you are supposed to be a title challenger, you are not taking full advantage. That's
not
why they are
true.
still 1
What
point.
I said was there already been a gap
Where
established
were you?
at the start of the season. Arsenal drew against Brighton, drew against City. They went to draw some
Newcastle.
Yeah,
So they
but
went to lose
the
against
point remains that is not
Yeah.
Manchester City's fault.
I'm not
What is
saying
still
that's
a
Man
fact?
City's
Arsenal
fault.
lost
Yes,
against
but
You are
Newcastle.
saying that
At
Arsenal were
St.
not
James.
taking advantage. Listen. The guy is saying Arsenal were not taking advantage. But how is it that
No.
as at the time when Manchester City lost their first game, there was already a gap established. Now they have finally won after that 6 game. Arsenal is on top of them. Is it because
I'm
Arsenal
saying
was
that ordinarily,
Uh-huh.
if Man City go 3 matches and lose all 3,
They shouldn't be 1 point behind you.
that's 9 points. They should not still be 1 point behind Arsenal. And
if you are leading me
Chelsea.
by 9 points, if you are leading me by 10 points and you lose 3 and I win 3, it's not still 1 point you lead me by.
No,
Yes.
So what is
But
what,
you
what,
see,
what
but
he's
you
saying is that
no, it's
for a team
no,
that wants to
you are
win the
looking at it. No, you see, DK, hold on. You're looking at it. You are looking at it in a very isolated manner that doesn't make sense. We're talking about a league campaign.
Mhm.
It's a league campaign.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a marathon.
it's a marathon,
Mhm.
and I'm saying that in order to win,
Uh-huh.
you must show form at all times.
Okay.
And whether that form is a losing form or a winning form, you must still show form. And my point is that I feel disappointed
Mhm.
that Arsenal and Chelsea were so far off that it's gotten to a point where Manchester City have lost 3 games in a row and somehow are still 1 point behind.
Yeah.
You can't begrudge me for being disappointed in
That's
those
what he's
2
saying.
teams.
I don't understand. this.
Why shouldn't you?
You have admitted in one breath that it's a marathon.
Yes.
So why are you singling out 2 teams
But-
for starting
but Sudan-
slow and speeding up?
It's important because in a title race, one of the areas where you get an advantage over your opponent is your capacity to amass points when they are dropping points.
And that's what they've done. That's how come they've. But at the start of the City, were way ahead of Arsenal and
He's
Chelsea.
saying-
Is
he's
this what's not true?
Let's move on.
So they have taken
Daniel,
advantage of
yeah,
City's
no,
slump, yes or no?
yeah,
But
let's
when
move
started
on.
dropping
Have you
points,
thought about the reverse
Arsenal
scenario?
were
Have
dropping
you thought
some
about the
points
reverse
somewhere.
scenario?
Arsenal have only won 3 consecutive games in their last 3 Premier League games. The first time in this season. No.
Yes.
Before those
And
3
during
games,
that
City
period,
had drawn,
You see,
City had drawn and lost.
DK.
Arsenal were dropping points. They lost to Newcastle. You remember?
I'm seeing
The place that Liverpool have
Arsenal
gone to
have
draw
won-
that you said they'll keep
Arsenal
dropping
have
points.
won
No.
3 in a row. City have the
Lost
last
3 in a
4,
row.
3 in a row.
You see.
So it's the
But
same period.
I'm saying, you see, DK, that's what I'm saying.
You are
You're
saying
looking
they
at
didn't.
yeah,
they
no,
didn't.
I get the point you're making, but I'm saying that you are looking at it in very isolated terms.
Morgan, he may come back in May.
That neglects the point I'm trying to
come
make.
back in May.
The point I'm trying to make is a general point.
No,
that
I won't allow you to make
if
that
we are
point
talking
because,
about-
what are you talking about?
if we speak about scenarios where Arsenal, Chelsea lose 3 games in a row, and Man City are supposed to be in top form. By the end of that, they are 3-game losing streak. They will not be 1 point
the
behind
league
Man
will
City.
be
You see,
over.
That's my point.
That's where you are getting it wrong. The top form you are talking about came during the period where Manchester City were dropping points. Arsenal started building.
Did they lose
Arsenal
3
and
in a row?
Arsenal and listen, I'm saying Arsenal
Chelsea and
and Chelsea
Arsenal, did they
started
lose 3
building
in a
their
row?
form while Manchester City were in their slump. So if you are
I'm
asking
saying
me
that
if both
it-
teams
no,
have taken advantage of City's slump, the
No,
answer is
you
yes.
see, I'm saying that in any scenario in the Premier
Let
League,
me tell you something about Chelsea.
yeah, in any scenario in the Premier League,
Chelsea's draw.
if Man City are in form in any scenario, and Arsenal or
See-
Chelsea lose 3 games in a row at any point that we can speak about them being
Fence,
top,
fence.
they will not be 1 point
Arsenal and
behind.
Chelsea were not on form when
No,
City
hang
started.
on,
this season.
no.
were not.
No, that's not
They
necessarily.
never lost 3 in a row.
When Chelsea
They
played
were-
against, when Chelsea were going to play against Man United, that drawn game,
yes,
Chelsea were favorites going into that game. Chelsea had played better than United. And
True, fact.
going into that game,
Fact.
if Chelsea had won that game, that is 2 more points. Like if Chelsea had won, that's 2
And
more
they
points.
should have.
They should have. Going into that game, we all knew Chelsea were the better team. They
They
slacked.
should have beaten Forest.
They slacked. They should have beaten Forest. They slacked. Now, when you look at Arsenal, some of those points that they dropped at the time that City were struggling, and you see, Arsenal came into this season being the team that was going to dethrone.
The Arsenal one don't go there. Arsenal, the Newcastle game was when Arsenal lost against Newcastle. City had won that week. After that, they faced 2 of their title rivals. They drew against Liverpool. They drew against Arsenal. Those are the only 4
Chelsea,
points. Chelsea. Those are the only 4 points they've dropped.
But Arsenal should be beating Chelsea. No, in this, in you see, and that's my issue with Arsenal. You see, when City wants to win,
beating
Chelsea
they should be beating.
Yes.
The top scorers this season.
No. Yes.
One of the
But
best
you
attacking
are
teams.
one of the best defending teams as well.
They are not the best defenders.
One of. I'm saying
They are not one of the best defenders.
Fair enough. They are part
this
of that
season
group.
is the branding.
They are part of the group. Of,
Last season they were the best defensive team. This
but you
season
see,
is not true.
It's
that's the
Daniel,
problem with
he
Arsenal.
He even conveniently ignored the Bournemouth defeat.
Which
yes.
Oh,
Semenyo.
You see, no, Danny.
when did they come? You are talking about timelines. So I'm saying that Arsenal coming back into form
Yeah.
has coincided with Manchester City messing up. That's the only way they're on top. When Man City started messing up, they were ahead of Arsenal.
No, Danny.
When Man City started messing up, Arsenal were now looking how to get back into the top
And
four.
that's my problem. My problem with Arsenal is
So
the
don't
way
say
they
that
started the
if-
season.
You are saying it, no. You see, the way
Okay.
Fent is counting it, it's like a typical Ghanaian journalist. He's saying it like Arsenal were on form when
The
Manchester
reverse-
City started messing up, and
the
they've only
reverse-
been able to
the reverse of
amass
what
just 1
Daniel
point
is-
ahead
So
of
they
them.
were
reverse
not
of what-
on form.
They were not
The
on
reverse
form,
of what
obviously.
Daniel is saying is that Arsenal were not on form, and that's how come at the time City were supposedly dropping points, they could not.
But
Catch
Ticho
up.
also made the argument for Chelsea. What about Chelsea? Can we say they were also on form?
I'm coming. Forgetting that Arsenal could not catch up because City, before they started messing up consistently, had stacked up the points. Right?
That's what I've said.
So that is what saved them.
Yeah.
If Arsenal had stacked up the points,
City
before
and
they
Liverpool
got-
were neck and neck. Oh.
Look.
City and Liverpool were neck and neck when
What-
City started messing up.
what you are
So
forgetting
what
is
are
that
you
Arsenal have
doing?
been
Is it-
consistent this season.
I think Daniel
If
understands
Arsenal
my
had
point.
stacked up the points
But
like
he's
City,
failing to appreciate my
look,
position.
if
That's
Arsenal
the
had
issue.
stacked up the points
I
like
don't-
City,
I don't understand.
if Arsenal had stacked up the points like City did
Yeah.
before this 3-game period where they've now actually found like if what we've seen of them in the past month is what they were doing before they got to a period where over a 3-game spell they weren't doing, they would have pulled away from City.
Yeah. And I'm saying that for
And
me,
look, and
the
standard
last
of
point
the-
I will
yeah.
even say is this, that I feel like the title contenders to Manchester City, by Liverpool, of course, so i.e. Chelsea and Arsenal, they lack the consistency of Manchester City to be able to win championships. And that is why Man City would go on the poorest form they have been in the history of the Premier League since Pep Guardiola has come in. And somehow, these two are supposed to be challengers, are also facing form slumps, like Daniel says in the case of Arsenal, or really dropping inexplicable points, like in the case of Chelsea. So it's a general point that I'm making, that the reason they have not been champions is this very reason, where they have not shown enough consistency to be able to take full advantage of their biggest competitor. Going through
but
the
you see,
poorest run of form.
you see, the other thing too is the standard of the Premier League now, like 10, 20 years ago.
That's because of Man
Arsenal-
City.
No, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
not because of anybody.
No, but that is the standard of the
That's a
PL now.
problem.
Yes,
Still there.
The standard, no,
So
not because of Man
don't
City
come and
Silio.
do
I'm
speak
saying-
like grand
No, but that's
English
the-
like
but
it
they
is
are
something.
still there.
But that is the standard you
But
have
they
to
are
beat.
still there.
Sasa.
So I'm saying that the standard of the Premier League now, as it is, you cannot afford to have the purple patches that Chelsea and Arsenal have had, and even
Yeah,
City.
that's why
He
one
can't.
team
And
don't
think
count.
that you win.
He can't.
You see Liverpool's form. They lost against Nottingham. It didn't set them back. They went on a winning spree. Then they've drawn a very good point away at Newcastle. When you watch the game, you're like, they almost won. But it was a very difficult
And they also
game for them.
almost lost.
That's what I'm saying. Like they almost lost. It was a very difficult game
No,
for
you
them.
intentionally use one.
No, so I was going to say it was a very difficult game for them. They could have lost as
No,
well.
but it's true.
But they didn't finish.
No.
I'm shocked.
No, they didn't finish. I'm saying that
But
if you
this guy
watch
know
the game,
him. He said, "Oh, they almost won." Then he continued talking. You were not going to say.
I continue by saying what?
The show misses you.
I continue by saying that. I said they almost
the
won.
agenda they do, or you know they listen what they say.
Mbappe fool.
The guy said
I say
they almost won.
I say they
And
almost
he
won.
always says it some animated way. Oh, they almost won. Then he go take sneak inside. I know this guy.
I say at Newcastle, they almost won. But it was a very difficult game for them. They could have lost.
Yes.
You don't make a talk that one.
You didn't conclude like that.
No, you didn't allow me.
You don't conclude. No,
you didn't allow me.
Massa, you
I
finished.
said it was a
You
difficult.
finished
I
the
didn't
sentence
finish.
before I
finish.
interjected.
You rewind. You hear that talk?
You see, he has been exposed.
But so offense. Just this one second.
Yeah.
You see, they've won a lot of games coming into the Newcastle game. Then they've drawn. I suspect that Liverpool go into next week and bounce back to winning ways. For Arsenal and Chelsea, they've had about some 4-game spell where they've won one, they've won 2.
Arsenal didn't win in 4.
Yes. So in the standard of the Premier League we have now, you probably can't afford to have these spells at any time in the season. Whether at the stats, that's what I'm saying. City are out of the title chase. I still think they'll drop more points. I still think Arsenal might drop some more points. Chelsea the same. And even if Liverpool drop some points,
The others will not be consistent
it's
enough
the
to
ability
catch it.
to just bounce back and continue with some good spell that makes me think they can, because that's the standard now, and that's why I'm disappointed in Arteta, because in the absence of City not doing well, it was his advantage to grab, but some way somehow the season didn't start like he would have planned it. For some circumstance, the red cards and things that sometimes we don't under.
I'm going to bring this
Fraudulent
question
records.
to you. Since we are on the subject of Arsenal, I won't let you finish your Chelsea point against Agenda
I didn't even want
boy.
to answer. I don't know why you
Agenda
gave
boy.
me Chelsea.
My friend, keep quiet over there.
I don't even know why you gave me Chelsea.
Chasam,
Fraudulent records.
yesterday, and the reason I'm bringing this question to you, yesterday, he was going back and forth with people over Arsenal and corner kicks.
Oh, I go catch him.
That
I go
one,
catch him.
I left for you.
I go catch
I
him.
don't go talk some.
Ah.
The rest.
I wake up,
22,
you are vexing
22 goals from corner kicks alone.
in the league.
Since the start of last season.
28 in all competitions.
Yes, 22 in the league ago. The corner kicks contribute 29% of Arsenal's overall XG.
Yeah.
They're averaging 3.9 or 4 players in the box every corner kick. Somebody said, it's not somebody, let me mention names. Berbatov says they are the new Stoke City.
That's why you don't get coach. You know go doing coaching badges.
He said they are the new Stoke City. And you apparently seems to agree, because you said he spent so much money to come and play haram ball. Question: are corner kick goals not goals?
I actually said it before Berbatov did. And for clarity, Berbatov was joking. I was serious. He said we'll make the joke.
So, but what do you have against corner kicks? It's winning, it's
I don't have
goals.
anything. In fact,
No, but why were you fuming? They
Let
take
him-
score you
let
are
him
angry.
finish.
I don't have a problem. In fact, thanks to Dan, you drew our attention to the fact that if you look at the Premier League goal scorers,
Make you not talk my own. Talk your own.
right?
Don't say my own.
Look
No,
at
Say
that's
your
an
own.
argument. He has to use your point to defeat your point to make his
Okay.
point.
If you look at the Premier League goal scorers last season, no, only I think apart from Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland, no striker in the Premier League or no player has scored to that region, right?
Okay.
Which is incredible. My main point and my issue with Arteta and Arsenal is this. And I think sometimes when your team wins a game like that, context gets lost.
Okay.
Here's the thing. This is a Manchester United team that has been badly coached for the best part of a decade.
Okay.
They have made perhaps their 1 billionth coaching change. And that manager is someone who's been there for 3 weeks? First week, because of international, we did not really have the chance to train the team. This is like his second week of having to train the team. And so when they set out to play, you will not expect them to play with the cohesiveness that a seasoned team, a team that is a year into their project or 2 years, right, have gone through a cycle of topple. They have gone through a cycle of pruning. Players have been moved on under the same management. And so there is a certain clarity in terms of the project, right? When you have that circumstance and you are assessing such a team and the coach and how they play. There are certain expectations that you have to have. That longevity that they have had has to reflect in the way they play.
Yeah.
That consistency over the years has to reflect in the automatisms, right? How choreographed the patterns that they see, it should reflect, right? Because even for the coaches who like to make changes often, the basic principles in their game are still obvious for everyone to see. So, because Manchester United did not have that, going into that game, my expectation was manage the game, be conservative, and get as much from that game as possible.
Okay.
If it's a 2-1 defeat, but that shows us something that is an improvement on what was before, I will take it.
Okay.
Because
from a United perspective.
Yes. Not only from a United perspective, but from any fair mind. If you look at Manchester United were poorly coached for a long time. You cannot, in 2 weeks, be able to correct all of the tactical flaws, coach the bad tactical habits that have stacked up over the years, coach it out of them, and arrive at a point where you can produce a competitive team after 2 weeks of training. So it is not possible.
So then
that is not just what
that's not a reasonable expectation to have.
That's not just what a Manchester United fan would have. That is what any fair mind should have. Okay. Because that is the fact of it.
So then, if
conversely, when I take a team that has been prepared and provisioned for 4 years, for 5 years, the way they play has to show. When the two teams line up, there has to be a significant difference between the one that has been coached for 5 years, right? The one that has had the opportunity to consistently, at least a semblance of a proper structure, well-run football club. We are told he's a good coach, the football that consistency has to show, right?
How should he show?
I'm coming.
In the results?
I'm coming. It has to show. So in the same way that we talk about certain clubs and say you are a big club, you have to behave like one.
Yes.
In terms of your ambitions, in terms of your approach to the game. We cannot then dismiss what was the status quo in terms of how what that team represents in terms of football identity on the pitch. And say that, because it is the only time that I'll make exceptions for a coach in terms of maybe deviation from how they set their teams up to play is when their results shut you up. When over time, they are delivering the titles and the results that will shut you up. Arteta doesn't have that. So when you tell me that after going through 5 years or 4 years of Arteta, after spending the amount of money there, and here's the thing, Arsenal is not like Manchester United. In terms of their transfer business, they have not made the sort of mistakes Manchester United have made. So the spending has been very supportive to Arteta.
And he won a game
in terms
on Wednesday night. So I am trying
Hang on a minute. In terms of what he wants to work with, he has had enough.
Yes.
Could they have given him a bit more? Possibly. But he generally has a sane environment to work with.
Fair enough.
My beef with Arsenal is that they've become very unrecognizable.
In what way?
In the sense that these days, Arsenal's best bet of finding a goal is through that set piece.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. But
you seem to have a problem with it.
My problem is with this idea that the same Arsenal fan base who for years disrespected Jose Mourinho, who for years disrespected Diego Simeone because they say the football is not sexy. For years disrespected Sam Allardyce, Tony Pulis, disrespected these guys because the football is not nice enough. Then suddenly turn around and you're talking to a manager who hasn't won shit for you, but is playing the very football that you people criticize. Why? When Tony Pulis and co.
He has won 2 trophies.
With their long through, Ten Hag has 2 trophies.
You say he hasn't won shit. He's won 2 trophies.
In the context of the Premier League, he hasn't won shit.
He has won FA
It's the Premier League that we're talking about.
It's the English Super Cup. What's your issue?
It's not a trophy.
It's a
But
trophy.
Mourinho
It's
said
a
it that people
charity
berated
shield.
It's a
him.
trophy.
It's a charity
you see
It
the
is
hypocrisy.
added to
You
trophies.
It's
see
a
the
charity cup.
It is added to
Mourinho
trophies.
said it,
It's a
and you people
charity
berated
cup.
him
It does.
for
We
it.
don't care whether
Oh,
we
then
berated
Chelsea
it or
have
not.
played
The
for-
point is when you are listing
But you
trophies,
agree
is
you
it
berated
listed
him
or
for
not?
it. Because you agree you berated
Is
him
it?
for it.
Are we talking facts or we are
Wait.
talking feelings?
Wait.
No,
No,
you
no.
differentiate.
I'm talking consistency.
Then
No, are you
Chelsea has
talking
a
facts or
treble.
you are
Then
talking
Chelsea has a
feelings?
Then
treble.
Chelsea also has a
Hey, you have a
Then
treble.
we have one treble.
Liverpool too has a treble. There's the
Nonsense
treble and there's a
this.
treble. But you should know this
Today,
thing.
I'm glad he's the one saying this because there's
Don't
something
mind.
he
But
likes.
it is a fact.
You see the absurdity of any logic when you begin to introduce it to multiple scenarios, even where it should not.
Fine, I'll get there. Don't
So
worry.
it's a hypocrisy you
For
don't
me,
like.
that is it.
Mm.
Look, if
I thought
Chelsea
it was the
fans-
fact that you were scoring from corners that was vexing you.
but I never stated anything like that.
Mm.
That was why yesterday I decided not to engage anyone who said, but Manchester United did not play well because that is not what I said. Right? If you set your own questions and you want me to answer, I don't have that.
Are you
time. I
saying
wouldn't
that
do-
beyond the
If
set piece
Chelsea
goals,
fans-
the whole football didn't please
It
you?
wasn't.
Is it only in the Man United Arsenal
Not
game
sure.
or across?
It wasn't. That has been the problem with Arsenal for long spells this season. Against Newcastle, they were bland. Against Atalanta, they were bland. Against Inter, they were bland. AFC Bournemouth, before that. How many of those games can you point out in the season? And here's the thing. People have this habit of, and yesterday I saw a lot of people, XG. Arsenal had 5 or... How many of those chances came from open play? Here's the thing. XG, it doesn't lie.
No.
But it is not holistic because XG does not go on to explain the nature of the chance that was created. It just tells you this chance came. It will not tell you that all of those chances came from the corner kicks. So if you see the ball Liverpool played yesterday and the way City play when they are on form, when they stack up the same number of XGs in a game where they created a lot of openings, but in terms of what will qualify as XG, the high quality of the chances that they created were a bit low, and they still score that number, right, in terms of XG. If you take that and you compare it to what the numbers Arsenal recorded yesterday, attacking-wise, you even forget attack. Do they have the same value?
Arsenal's XG tends to be lower.
No, I'm just saying that XG, right,
Yes.
only goes to tell you the number of chances,
The quality of the chances
the
you
quality
got.
of the chances. Yes.
Relative to their conversion.
What it does not tell you is how those chances came about.
Yes.
So if all of those chances came from
Penalties.
throw-ins,
Let's even say penalties.
it will still count,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
So the idea that you can lift that and say that, but because they had this XG, it meant that attacking-wise they were not better. I for the life
So
of
your
me
whole
cannot accept
beef
is that the football that Arsenal and
is
Arteta-
harambo.
Boga,
And Arsenal fans should not be happy with it.
no, if
The same
that
energy
Harambo-
they used to criticize Jose and Tony Pillis and Allardyce, you know.
Look, if that Harambo is delivering the results, it shuts us up.
But it is. They
It
won
is not.
yesterday.
It is not.
But they won.
Has it delivered the Premier League title?
But he delivered the 3 points that could lead to the Premier League title.
But it is this idea that the 3 points is enough. For me, I want to look beyond that. If you're an Arsenal fan, at the end of the season,
Question for you.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, exactly. Finish
at
that
the end of
sentence.
the season,
Yes.
you will now begin to look back on all of those games. And back then, there will be no hiding place because you will look at the context of those. You will look at a clear pattern where a team struggles to build cohesiveness attacking-wise. You look at a clear pattern where for a long time, and this was right from the beginning of the season, then it entered the Champions League. Then the international break came and went. You have a team that goes against teams, and look, these days, Manchester United, even under Amorim, they are as easy as they come in the Premier League because the manager is still trying to figure the team out. Look,
So
yesterday when
Arsenal
United
should be
were playing,
dominating them and
they
beating
should.
them.
Look,
I have a
yesterday when
question.
United were playing,
Okay.
you realize that every time United had the ball and wanted to attack, there was a chasm between the 5 at the back and the 3 who were up front because the manager simply could not commit men forward. Yet, the ever paranoid sounding Mikel Arteta still was not convincing himself to unleash his team and let them loose to go and attack.
I have a question. Do you think this in itself is a strategy that could deliver them a title?
It won't. It's
Why
cool.
not?
It will not.
Because this is This is unique
because
no other team has been as efficient
with
corner kicks as Arsenal have been.
Again, don't
so
get me
maybe
wrong.
it's a new tactic.
Again, don't get
and
me
teams
wrong.
know it, but they can't deal with it.
Again, don't get me wrong. My argument is not even about the corner kicks. It is the fact that if you take that away from them, Arsenal don't look like they have.
Yeah, that's
much.
what I'm saying. But they've worked on that one, and maybe they're concentrating
so
on
that
it.
will deliver because yesterday, even in the absence of their biggest threat from set piece, Gabriel Magalhaes, they still created, I think, 3 clear cuts from those, and they scored 2. Mourinho missed that, so that will still deliver.
They make that for Kopate missed one.
Yeah, that will still deliver. But over time,
so over time, at the end of the season, if you deliver the title, what would be your...
It will not. I guarantee you, Arsenal are not winning the league playing this way.
Fair enough. Cranston, he's laid out his points. Arsenal fans are too hypocritical with their praise of the current haram ball.
That's where the issue is.
He said that's his issue.
The premise of his entire argument is emotional.
It's emotional.
It's emotional. Because Arsenal fans are saying something, he's bummed by it.
But he has a right to respond to Arsenal.
No, he has a right to respond. But when you are responding, your response must be back with facts.
His response is that
they
criticize Tony Pili, Sam Allardyce for Jose for play. That's facts.
When you make the point that if you take set pieces away from Arsenal don't have everything. That's when I don't even need to point holes. You yourself are punching holes in your own argument. You're already doing that. Because and I'll elaborate with the emotional before I even get to that. It is emotional because as soon as say they use the 2 set pieces to score his team.
Okay.
So your argument only makes sense in the context. No, it only makes sense. It's not an assumption.
He said he don't have that. It's your assumption. Go on with your assumption.
Okay, you can call it an assumption.
But
by the time I finish, those watching and listening will understand exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
The argument in the context of the Man United game, it makes sense. That's the only game that argument will make sense. But if you are going to use it on
applied
generally to Arteta's time at Arsenal, that's when it becomes false.
Because obviously, out of those 22 goals, only 2 of them came against United. So the other teams in way.
Look, he said Arsenal look unrecognizable and the football they play is unrecognizable. What type of football do you expect Arsenal to play? Or what type of football do you think Arteta plays or Arteta has deviated from? Because there needs to be something you recognize. Then when he goes against it, then it becomes unrecognizable.
I guess Wenger's Arsenal.
When did Wenger leave Arsenal?
2018.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Wenger left long time ago. If Arsenal had communicated that Arteta was going to play in the mode of Arsene Wenger, and then he's doing what he's doing, then it's fine if you say it's unrecognizable. But Arteta has brought his own style and is implementing his own style. And is that style effective? Yes, it's effective.
He said it's not one anything.
If you compare it, then Wenger was Wenger was in. When you were talking, I was not talking. When you were talking, I was not talking. I was making notes. So make notes.
Yeah, bro. When you say it's effective, no,
it is not
effective has to.
You are the one who started by saying that.
I've made the point. Allow me to land.
What?
It is effective because if you compare the 5 years of Arteta to the last 5 years before him, Arsenal have made a significant improvement. Tell me it's true or not.
Nearly
no, it's not true.
Nearly
because in the 5 years before
they didn't make the Champions
League. They didn't. But they won, I think, 3 FA Cup titles.
They won 3 FA Cup titles.
I think so in that period.
No.
Oh, come on.
They won the FA Cup. The last trophy they won was Wenger's last but one season. Wenger's last season, he didn't win a trophy. They finished outside the top 4.
Yeah, but Wenger won.
No. Wenger's last.
Wenger won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And then it ended. That was his last but one season. That was when he won.
But that period is.
The following season, his last season, he didn't win a trophy.
But that's the
So
5 years. The 5 years before, he had
they
3.
won like 3
that's what
FA
I just
Cups.
said.
That's what he
So
said.
the 5 years
3 or 2.
before.
Wenger.
The last one was when they beat Chelsea with the handball from Sanchez.
It wasn't handball.
Oh, Massa.
The one Giroud scored.
The handball goal. Didn't Sanchez 2017 FA Cup final? Sanchez handball goal. Victor Moses red card. That's referee. What's his name?
Koje for handball. Budget. Twasu.
You think I've forgotten? Antonio Conte, Chelsea should have won the double that season. But yeah, that was his last.
No Champions League football.
Trophy.
No Champions League football in 5 years.
Yes.
He comes in the last 2 seasons. They've made Champions League. He won a trophy too. He won 2 trophies.
Yes.
He's won made Champions League football in 2 seasons in a row. The football he's playing, the new style that he has implemented under this Arsenal team is reaping results.
I won't let you get off easy like that.
No, where
you
they
asked
came
the question.
from,
you lied when you said that the 5 years of Arteta is far more successful than the 5 years preceding Arteta. And you and I were trying to establish what basis you were using to make that comparison. Then we went to trophies. And the trophies argument you lost because the 5 years preceding Arteta, there were more trophies than the 5 years of Arteta. So that fact is there. Then you went to champions.
No.
So you have to define the success.
I made the point.
Yeah.
And the first indicator I said was they didn't make Champions League football in those 5 seasons.
And
you said, but they won 3 trophies.
Yes.
So you are using the FA Cup as, and you are a typical Ten Hag person. You are a typical Ten Hag person. Where a big team like Arsenal will finish outside top 4 places, win FA Cup, and you define it success. That's for you success. It's fine. It's fine. But any Arsenal, the people who belong to Arsenal, when they are judging, did you see them happy during that time?
When they are judging, what do they value more?
What do they value?
Champions League football.
They value these 5 years better than the previous 5 years.
You see how
that is a fact.
The key.
Are you kidding me?
You see how
5 years where you won one FA Cup.
You see how he's contradicting.
That's what I'm saying. That is your standard. And it's the same standard. It's a very similar standard to you.
You see how he's contradicting.
I'm talking. Make notes.
Fair enough.
When you were talking, and don't be
punching holes.
You allowed him to flow when he was just making business. Right, in fact, I now say, let me just go back to my notes. And
okay, go ahead with your point.
Before you go make her forget, then I'll not
go ahead with your point. Go ahead with your point.
If you take the Arsenal over since the beginning of last season, have scored 22 goals from set pieces.
Yes.
Okay. In Arteta's first 3 seasons, Arsenal went amongst the highest scorers in the league.
No.
Defensively, they were solid. In fact, over his 5 year, Arsenal have been Arsenal have been part of the best defensive teams in the league.
Fact.
So Arteta's team has been built on a solid defense. That is what his premise.
So he has shown his identity.
He has shown his identity. So you have decided not to see it.
He has created his own
identity. That's why I said it's
I'm getting your argument.
You are the
now.
one who has made up how you think Arsenal should be playing.
But the guy has come, he has played a certain way. For the longest time.
The only time, in fact, let me tell you, it will shock you. When Arsenal just missed out on the top 4 in the season that Conte beat them to it.
Yes.
That was their joint lowest scoring season in the Premier League since George Graham.
Wow.
Who was 1-goal project man.
Yes.
George Graham, who was one of the most defensive coaches in Premier League history. That was one of their lowest, and they missed out on top 4 by how many? Like 2 points that season. That was when Arsenal is coming back now. Even in that season, his team was built on defensive solidity, not attacking potency. Arsenal were not creating chances for fun. Their XG wasn't high. It wasn't like they were missing. The few chances they were missing, Arsenal's XG was very identical to the goals they scored. So the point is, Arteta has created his identity. It is you are the one who has decided not to see it. Now, let's go on the issue of set pieces and why it is genius and why he should be praised instead of this funny, emotional, ridicule. Look, we all said at the start of last season that Arsenal lacked a potent goal scorer. Very true to our human self. We waited until the end of the season when they didn't win the league, and then we said it is because they didn't have a potent goal scorer. Okay. But these are the numbers. Arteta knew and knows that he didn't have a striker that will give him 15 plus goals. A centre forward who will give him 15 plus or guarantee 20 plus goals for teams that want to win the Premier League title. Okay. So how does he create that, in fact, get back those 20 goals that he doesn't have in one player? Through set pieces. If you look at the average number of goals teams score a season in set pieces, and you look at what Arsenal did last season,
it's not normal.
It's not normal. So Arsenal have a new number 9. They have a number 9 who is not an individual.
His name is Connor.
His name is Connor in set pieces. Because he is getting those numbers that ideally they would have got if they spent money to go and buy somebody else who will probably add goals, but they will have to tweak something in their system to accommodate that type of striker. So in order to get the goals that you will not be able to get in that one man, how can we? Some people, they rely on VAR penalties. Some people rely on free kicks. Some people rely on whatever. Arteta has geniusly, intelligently been able to find an alternative for 20 plus goals a season, not in one player, but in a statistic that in a metric that it will occur in the game. And once there's a corner, Arsenal's corner to goal ratio is now even more dangerous than direct free kicks. Like the average
now 29%.
And that is higher.
The average chance per corner kick for every team is below 10%.
Thank you.
For Arsenal, 29% chance of
the
scoring.
average conversion rate for free kicks is just, in fact, we are talking about high end, like the guys who score, it's about 13%. If you are looking at the Juninho's and the Beckham
in total, right, under 10%.
Thank you. So Arsenal have now found a way to recoup those 20 plus goals they wouldn't have got in a striker. And it is not coming at the expense of their game style or their game, how they model.
Which is what Archie seems to be arguing, right?
Thank you. So let's go back to Arteta 3 seasons ago.
That they came to play haram ball and just score from
3 seasons ago, the Arteta that lost to Conte in top 4 football, they scored 57 goals.
Yes.
If Arteta had thought of that thing early, add 22 to that. Arsenal missed out on top 4 football in the second half of that season. Their inability to score goals, which was because they didn't have a record. They had sold Aubameyang. So that season, in the second half of the season, Nketiah plus Martinelli plus Saka plus Odegaard plus Esala plus Lacazette, the 5 of them contributed 13 Premier League goals. Son Heung-min alone, from January to May, contributed 14. Arsenal were not able to, they were struggling to score goals. That was poor. Add the 22 corners that this time Arteta has smartly added to his game. Add that one too. Arsenal wouldn't have missed out on top 4. So the point is, if you are likening Arsenal to Tony Pulis in the fact that they don't do anything, they only come up with corners. No. Their game, how Arsenal played their friend, that you see, it's so funny. People were praising at that time, when he hadn't added corners to the same game style and same game philosophy he was playing, people were likening him to Pep Guardiola.
Right.
All of a sudden, when his defensive numbers have drastically improved, and he's now throwing ball and them doing now it looks like it is Pulis. But look at yesterday's game again. I'll come back to yesterday's game in the analysis. Actually made some points that if you are, if you spend 5 years in a, look.
You shouldn't be playing the way.
Coaching is see, there's something called pragmatism, right?
Yes.
Where you can look at a team and alter your game style based on how that team is playing.
He says it's a trend. It's not just one game.
Okay. Let me look at, it's the first time in a very long time Arsenal have played a game and they've not dominated possession. In fact, when it comes to Man U and Arsenal, Man U usually dominates the ball. Arsenal usually dominate the ball. Man United play on a counter-attack. You are playing against a coach who has just scored 3 Premier League games. It's not just Man U. So you can't say Man U have been badly coached for a long time. So then it means that they are not going to showcase the same game pattern or the same philosophy that they have been showing under Ole or under. It has been different teams, different styles. You can't tell me Ten Hag's ball looked like Ole's ball. It was different. Yes, there's a trend of bad coaching, but it doesn't mean that when it comes to
one-offs, wasn't the same kind of bad.
Ten Hag was a bad coach at Man United, but in a one-off game, in one-off games last season, 2 seasons ago, we could see there were at times where he'll be able to alter his. Look at the FA Cup final. He outcoached Pep. He did it. Does it mean Ten Hag is better than Pep? No, it doesn't. It means in a one-off, he was able to come up with a strategy to counter
the
Pep
ultimate punchline in Achu's argument, though, is that he says, fundamentally, this will not help Arteta win the league.
I'll get it. Look, in yesterday's game, if you've watched Man United in transition under Amorim, I even showed you guys on Monday. They are dangerous.
Yes.
Man United have been committing more bodies forward, even under if you compare what Amorim was doing if you compare what he's doing against what Ten Hag was doing. United are committing more bodies. United have extra bodies on the wide areas. They are stretching the game more.
Yeah.
So it looks very different. Arsenal this season, that's why when you earlier said that Arteta has a good defense, this season it's not necessarily worked like that. Relatively, I think that they have the second best or third best defense. But on an average, if you compare to what they were doing
the same
last
number
season,
of goals as Chelsea.
thank you. They are conceding a bit more than what we expected them to concede. And transitions is an issue, especially in the chances that they are conceding. So what did Arteta do yesterday? He allowed Man United to have the ball. Because Man United didn't expect to have as much of the ball as they had yesterday. Arsenal were not high pressing and put it. You mentioned this thing on, was it Monday? How Odegaard prompts them to.
Yes.
Arsenal were pressing in moments. They were not, starting them boom. They allowed Man United to have the ball. Because if you have the ball and you are controlling possession and it's nice and it's all good, when United are transitioning, they can catch you. When United pick the ball off you, like what we've seen, they can catch you. So that's pragmatism. Yeah,
so he dropped his defensive line a little.
Thank you. And he
became more compact.
And again,
and kept them at bay.
There's a clear chance at goal. So if you saw Arsenal, they were not afraid when their wingers isolated United's fullbacks. Martinelli gets the ball on this side. Saka gets the ball on the. It looks silly, but they know that when the corner comes, it is a bigger chance than him crossing it, waiting for Havertz to come to him. That's coaching. That's genius. You understand? There was a time Chelsea was facing Tony Pulis, and the ball was going for corner, a throw ball, and Paulo Ferreira ran and put the ball to corner.
It's not just him. There were other examples.
Thank you. That is instruction. Because a Stoke throw-in
is more dangerous than their
corner. Than a Stoke corner. So Arsenal know that when Saka picks the ball and he drags it on his right, if you watch the way Malacia was marking Saka yesterday, he was showing him onto his right foot. But Saka didn't force to get onto his left foot. Because once I take him on my right, there's a free chance for cross. If Havertz get there in time, he doesn't get there. I whip in a cross. Somebody is deflecting it out for a corner. And that is a bigger chance than me trying to dribble Malacia on my left foot and probably swinging in a cross. You see that?
Coaching. But he said,
coaching.
No, fact, fair enough.
Now
he says that coaching will not.
Now you are telling me that
coaching will
you
not
are telling me that Arsenal will not win the game.
The league.
As a result, this set piece thing will not
take them anywhere.
The reason we spoke about it just a couple of minutes ago. The consistency and the level that Manchester City has taken this league to. Look, to be frank, if a team is making 89 points and above, it is enough to win this Premier League. You are in the threshold of winning a Premier League. And if you watch what Arsenal is doing, if you watch what Liverpool is doing, what Arsenal is doing, and the pedigree of Manchester City, you can't look and tell, why are you a prophet? You can't stand here and tell me that they will win or they will not win. The point is, are they taking the metrics that are enough to win you a Premier League title? And the answer is yes. They have a good defense relative to what is happening this season. It is good. Can they be better? Yes, they can be better. And that improves their chances. The issue of them not having a prolific striker is being compensated by the set pieces. And I've told you, the numbers, and you see, it's not like there's a disparity between last season's numbers and this season's numbers as against what is happening in their defensive numbers. The way they started this season, in terms of them converting set pieces, very similar to last season. So, per this tangent, if we continue on this tangent, Arsenal could easily get 15 plus goals from set pieces alone. That makes up the
deficit.
The deficit
that would come as a result of them.
Now look at the games they are scoring these set pieces. Look at the teams they are scoring these set pieces against. Man City, they scored Man City with a set piece. Man United, they are scoring Man United with a set piece. Now, Arsenal have the luxury to win tight games. Crucial games where you may not have the luxury of passing the ball 4, 5, 6 times. you will not have space to be able to operate. When you get a corner, that is how you can win it. It is fine margins. That's how the Premier League is now being won.
And they found a way.
Fine margins. And then he talks about the Inter game. You see some of these things, I mean, the Inter Milan game, that is the one game this season. Arsenal created out of opening play. It just didn't work. So if you are going back to look at your friend example, haram ball numbers where they didn't do anything, it was only corner. That's a lie. That's a blatant lie.
Okay. Actually, I'll give you just like 60 seconds to say.
Not 60 seconds. Hey, he spoke a lot about things that I mentioned. So I need to clarify. First of all, I didn't even isolate the Inter Milan. I gave you the Inter Milan game. I mentioned Atalanta. I mentioned Man United.
No, you mentioned it as them being blunt going forward. And I said that is false. Because that game in terms of chances, the chances has not created.
I get you.
He's only mentioned one.
Yeah.
No.
You cannot take that and say that.
No, you've grouped
because in your opinion,
certain games. It's not opinion. You lied, and I'm trying to point it out.
Because in your opinion,
you lied and you added the Inter game to your group of games where Arsenal didn't create chances. I'm saying that's a lie.
Okay, let him respond.
Staying on issues that are
go on.
Meanwhile, you ran commentary on that game too. So why is he lying?
On issues.
You watched that game, you ran commentary.
He sat here and he tried to lie that Arteta had more success in the previous years than. And when you caught him, you tried to jump it and say that, it's not just the trophies. Now, it is not accurate. Arteta hasn't won more trophies than the 5 years preceding him.
I didn't say he won trophies.
Not accurate.
Did I say, wait.
He said it was, the word he used was, he said it was more effective.
Did I say he won trophies?
And I mentioned,
It was after you caught him that he
No. Did I ever, no.
It is not the trophy.
Sito, you are the neutral here. Did I even mention
that? Me, I'm not neutral.
No, you're not neutral. Do you know? Am I the one who mentioned?
I want to explain.
No, am I the one who mentioned trophies?
Let me
finish. I
Let's
didn't
move
mention
it.
trophies. I didn't mention trophies.
That's
not what I said. Again, he's setting his own question and
This is what happened. He started by saying that it was more effective. And I said, how so?
Then he made a significant point that
I'm not listening. I'm not wasting time.
That is based on your standard. But for a club
when
like
he mentions the Champions League, when he mentions the Champions League,
you are bringing clarity to a point.
He has moved on from that point.
He has moved on.
Yes.
When he mentions the Champions League,
it's okay.
When he mentions the Champions League as one of the signs of Arteta's progress, it's rubbish.
Like qualifying for the Champions League.
Like it's rubbish. Arsenal are not Everton, who are not used to the Champions League. So that when they go out after a period and then a new manager now brings them back into the competition, then you say, you are not used to this. So just because for a few years you weren't in the Champions League, that is your state perpetually.
Actually, how do you win a competition?
It is not.
How do you win a competition?
So you see,
by playing in it.
Hold
on. By playing
in it. I'm not playing Champions League for 8 years.
I'm not talking about winning the Champions League.
No. I was making a point about the significance of Arsenal's qualification. It's more significant than any other team's qualification, because they've never won that competition, and the only way they can and have a chance of winning is by playing in it.
And the first time he brought them to them.
So I can understand why it means something to them.
What you're saying becomes significant if in restoring them to the Champions League, he reaches thresholds never seen before.
He reached a certain threshold.
But what kind of imaginary metrics are you making?
It's like telling me that, around the time that Ferguson, right, between 2003 and 2006, when they were not making it to the Champions League beyond the round of 16 and sometimes the group stage, if then a new manager comes now, he even himself.
That's a poor example. The only time no. It's a poor example. That's inaccurate.
It's not that way.
It is inaccurate. The only time in that 3-year period, it is inaccurate. There's already an inaccuracy. The only time
so come back to now Mourinho like this man because Madrid had won 9. So then for a long time they have not been there. They took them there. Even Jose, they have not gone to the quarters for a long time. Lyon and Tis were beating them. Jose comes, takes them to the semis. Like 3 years in a row. Carlo comes. Are you saying that because Madrid had won it before, a new manager coming hasn't taken them to the title? The manager hasn't done anything.
And no use that Man United example because it's a wrong example. It's a wrong example.
Yeah. The 2 years that they've been in the Champions League, there's been nothing worth noting to use that on a CV and present it and say that
as a successful matrix.
It is Arsenal are used to the champion. They may not win it, but for the period that they were good, they were consistent in the competition. You get me?
How many times
So-
have they played in the semi-final of the competition? I want to ask something.
Has he taken them to that question becomes relevant if he's
No,
taking them to
but
the
they're
Champions
asking
League.
you
I'm
a
asking you,
question that
how
is
many
relative
times
to
have
what
they
you're
played
saying.
That's my answer to you.
I don't think Arsenal
No,
played the
how
semis
many
4
times
times.
have
That's
Arsenal
my
reached the
answer to you.
semi-final?
When they reached the final against Barca in 2006,
Yeah,
then they reached the
Man
semis
U-
2008.
Man United beat them.
After that, I don't remember the last time Arsenal played in the semis of the competition. I think those are the only 2
Yeah,
times.
so when
and Arteta took them to the quarters.
in his
Having not been
Sisho,
there in
in
6
7
years
years,
or 7 years.
Sisho, how many times do Arsenal play in European Cup finals? Emery took them to the Europa League final.
That's not their standard.
Yes, but I'm saying that do they make noise about it?
that's not their stand. That's a
What
tier
is Ars-
below.
No, in terms of winning the trophies, what's their stand? What is Arsenal's standard in European competition?
No.
You are the one introducing the fact that he accomplished this.
Yes.
Right. And I'm saying that there was someone who also took them to a cup final.
Yes.
If you want to contextualize it and bring in Arsenal's successes in European Cup finals, right? And even the appearances in European Cup finals, be it Intertoto, Conference, Europa League, UEFA Cup, Champions League, how many times do they get there?
Not many.
But are you then going to say that you are going to overlook everything that happened between 2018 and 2019 and say, because Emery took them there, that was something special?
No.
Yes, that's the point.
No.
So I'm saying that
no.
that in itself does not become something that you hold and say that this is something special or it's something worth
I don't
mentioning.
think anybody said it was special. It was the way you were downplaying it that I'm saying
It is
no.
not worth mentioning.
There's a
For
bit
me,
more
that is
to
what
it.
it
No,
is.
there's a bit more to it than because even in the semi-final, even in the quarterfinal, they only narrowly lost to Bayern. They were not blown away by Bayern. They were only narrowly lost to Bayern.
Sisho, in knockout competition,
Yeah.
unless for the teams that repeatedly establish a pattern of being there, they compete, they may not win. They are the ones that context matters.
In fact, you see,
Until they get to the
no,
point
if-
where,
no, you see,
until they get to the point where we know
the
that
matter point
by
you are
the
making
final-
a rebuttal against.
See, this is
It's a simple
this,
question.
This is not fair.
It is fair.
If-
Do you know? You see,
Let-
the people
let me
are listening. They are
finish.
getting
Wait,
confused.
let
No,
me-
simple
let me
question.
fi-
You are
Hold on,
no,
hold on, hold on.
How,
The
how
rebuttal
are
is
you
against
by
the
yourself
matter
determining
point
that
that
someone
Arteta's 5
listening
years
is
has been
confused?
more successful
If
than
the
the previous
confusion
5
is in your
years.
head, state it.
So
Don't-
was it
don't by
more
yourself
successful
assume
or
that
not?
other people are getting
Was it more
confused.
successful or not?
Don't by yourself assume
Was
that
it
other
more
people are
successful or
getting
not? Yes or
confused.
no? Simple.
No,
Because
don't
you are-
by
You
yourself.
disagree Arteta's first 5 years was more successful than the 5 years prior?
Yeah.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah.
You can go on.
Look, for me, big teams there. This thing about the identity and how big teams, and every time we say it on this show, the fact that Chelsea have gone through a bad patch doesn't change what they are in the context of the Premier League or even in European competitions. This idea that because Arsenal went through an 8-year period of fall or 4 years or whatever that comes next, even the minutest of adjustment has to be viewed with the lens that this is better because in the years that were before, they had, for me, is unacceptable. Arsenal's history, their identity, the standards they set did not start from the period that they started being bad. Or whatever happened in that 5 years does not erode all the greatness of Arsenal before then. For us to then say that we're only measuring what Arsenal are. So when I tell you that Arsenal are unrecognizable and you decide to limit it to the 5 years before, that is your problem.
No,
You get me?
No.
That is your problem.
No.
Arsenal had a standard before.
No.
It's
When you
that
said-
same standard.
no, you see,
You
have to
I know, hold on.
No,
When
No,
he's
he
done,
said
I-
a lot of
I'm
things that are
explaining
not.
something I'm
No,
saying.
he's
I'm
saying
explaining
that
the point
and
I
he's
made.
jumping points.
You
said
picked
Arsenal
this.
were unrecognizable in terms of star. That's what you said.
Yes, and I'm saying to you,
So
that
not standard. They are
No,
two different
no.
things.
you chose to look at it
No,
from
the
that side.
standard.
No.
There's a standard
that's
in
what
the
you
I made a
said.
holistic point.
That's
No,
what you said.
Daniel,
That's
you
literally
chose-
what he
Okay.
said.
Daniel,
All right, guys.
you
guys,
chose
He
to
said
guys.
narrow
the
your
football
mind
they
to that
play
side.
is
No, it wasn't.
unrecognizable.
Yeah.
So how is
It
it
wasn't.
now standard?
No, it wasn't.
Hold on.
No, it wasn't.
That's literally what you said.
Achu. DK.
No, or maybe
Let's
Right now you're making me
we-
feel like it be me at the touch.
No.
Did he or did he not say that the football Arsenal players
We'll
are
hang that
unrecognizable?
point.
Yeah.
We'll hang that
That's what
point.
he said.
We'll hang
No,
that
but
point. All right, listen, this is what I'm going to say. Okay.
You won't let me finish. This is not
Oh.
fair.
No, you are saying different things.
when
And when
you-
they ask
I
you,
know,
you
I
should
thought-
when
clarify
you were
too.
quiet, I thought you
Hey,
were.
no,
When you
clarify.
intervene, I thought you were coming to make an intervention. After that,
Okay,
no.
so you finish.
For me,
Mhm.
this issue of when I say they are unrecognizable, here's the thing, and I will repeat it again. If it confuses, the confusion is in your head. When I say that Arsenal are unrecognizable, and you choose it to limit it to the
Playing
last
style.
even let's stay with even the playing style.
Okay.
You choose to limit it to the last 5 years. That's your problem.
Wait.
I'm
Can
saying,
I ask the question for clarity?
wait. He was saying that as an offshoot from, or in response to the things that I said.
No,
the thing
that is-
you
so
said.
you said that Arsenal were unrecognizable.
Yes.
He asked the question, which I thought was significant. So, because after Wenger, so as for Wenger, we can break his time at Arsenal into like five things. Now, after Wenger was Emery, then right before Wenger left, Arsenal were already unrecognizable because the Arsenal we knew in the early 2000s wasn't the same Arsenal we knew in the 2010s, wasn't the same Arsenal we knew in the 2011s coming. Now, when you say Arsenal are unrecognizable, which Arsenal, which metric are you using to measure?
I'm going to answer by your own question. You say that in the final iteration of Wenger's time, Arsenal were unrecognizable.
Again, I'm going to put that pair Arsenal 2000s.
Thank you.
When Arsene Wenger's team was winning the league.
So that is
Thierry Dems.
For me, that's the point. And I'm not going to convolute it. I'm just going
And for Arteta's team is not like that.
I'm just going to say to you that if you picked any Arsenal team between 98 and 2011, there is one theme that will run through. They play on front foot. They play football that is easy on the eye. So you can demarcate it. But one thing you will not run away from is that for every generation, you will come back to the same underlying factors in terms of how they play.
Okay. Have you always had this issue with Arteta, or it's recent?
I've always had that issue with football managers because that's how I like my football to be played. Also, for Arteta,
I mean, that's a big problem there
so
because that style of football exists everywhere.
Let me clarify that. So for Arteta and for people like him who manage teams like Arsenal, teams like Barcelona, they have a set way of how their teams have to play.
That's not true.
They have an
I have a
expectation.
question for you.
See, you are making this thing without having any
Frank
idea of the
Rijkaard's team was
history of the
different.
club.
No, Frank Rijkaard's team was different from Pep Guardiola's team. Luis Enrique's Barca team was different from Pep Guardiola's. And Hansi Flick's Barca is different from...
Even on Arsenal.
Even Deco, Krala,
Even the Arsenal you are mentioning.
He didn't play
Even the Arsenal you are
tiki-taka.
mentioning.
And I'll say to
You are saying it
that
without having
the
any
underlying
idea of
thing
the
for all
history
of
of the
them,
club.
all of these managers that you are mentioning all played front foot football that was easy on the eye.
Who
The
was
variations
manager?
may
Who was
differ.
manager before
The
Wenger?
princ-
Who told
the
you Arsenal is
principles-
Wenger?
The principles may differ. But if you ask any Arsenal fan or any football fan, their idea of Arsenal, it is the Wenger iteration.
If you ask a certain
It is
generation,
the Wenger, and
it's
you
a
see,
certain
Here's
generation.
the thing. When we talk about football clubs and identity, right, and the personality they show on the pitch, football clubs exist for an eternity. The identity that we often gravitate towards or we identify with them is always one that was played by one generation, not because of the club's entire existence, but one that perhaps was more profound.
One generation defines a style for the
That
team.
is it.
I have a
Because
question
if
for
you
you.
take,
Normally, it's
Is
the
that
most
not-
successful
so-
generation
so you
style
ask me a
that the
question-
club wants to
you
adapt.
ask me-
runs to-
But
you ask
also,
me a
if
question,
I
you don't allow me to expand and then
no, you've been
You
speaking
are
for
saying
the
you've been
past.
speaking.
no,
sir.
because you guys
when
never
we are-
allow me to finish.
No,
I say one thing.
You
the
make
person comes-
points when they are trying to ask you
No, see,
questions.
when
You don't
there are
want
things you
anybody to.
say that I genuinely don't
I
understand.
don't understand.
I only ask for clarity. That's why I keep asking. Also, are you saying this? Are you saying that? It's not because I'm trying to interrupt you.
Ask a
I just
question.
want to get clarity.
Ask-
No. I'm
No.
just clarifying the point. Like the reason why I keep asking
Okay.
certain things. It's only because
Yeah,
So,
okay.
maybe
Alright.
be a
So is the question
But
answered?
actually, you have more to say.
Is the question answered? Yeah.
Oh no, I get it. So
Yeah.
you're saying that this Arsenal team.
So I
as
think
compared
what
to
he
the Wenger
wanted to
team
know was
is- uh-huh.
the Arsenal standard that you were comparing
yes, and you
every
answered by
other
saying the
Arsenal
Wenger
team.
team. Yeah, so I said
And
okay.
you mentioned the Wenger
Wenger,
2000s
yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fair point.
I'm just going to finish by
Mhm.
saying that this idea about how coaching requires pragmatism and how Manchester United they had more possession, blah blah blah. At the base of it, there was nothing that Manchester United were going to do yesterday that they would have been able to do over a sustained period through the game, to the extent that they will not only be able to stop Arsenal from playing, but will do enough to get the result over Manchester over Arsenal. I don't believe so. I don't think United are going to have that against any strong opposition in the Premier League, at least for the next 6 months. If that happens, it will be because Amorim has worked magic, because the automatisms don't exist. The players do not even have sufficient appreciation of what he's asking them to do. In real game scenarios, when players are confronted with scenarios that are outside what the manager is coaching them, but they are required to respond. Convention. And when I say convention, I'm speaking to everything we've seen these Manchester United players do for the time they've been at the club says to you that they will not come up with the results. That is why, for me, if you are a manager that has coached your team for a period of 5 years, and your excuse is that Manchester United, who lined up with Mason Mount, who hasn't started 5 consecutive Premier League games in more than a year, with Garnacho, who was playing in a position that he hasn't trained for in even a month. Højlund, who among all of us here agree is not fit for Manchester United job. That is the attack you are so scared of, that you have to sit. And here's the thing, United weren't even attacking. Even when, United saw more of the ball, they still sat with 5 at the back, and whenever they wanted to go forward, you realize that the 3 up front were isolated from. That is the attack that Arteta is afraid of. That is the attack that after spending £700 million, Arteta is afraid of. And is unable to fashion out a style or a tactic that over 90 minutes should go over Manchester United and even get the result.
So as long as you are concerned, actually, you are saying that no matter what kind of result Arteta gets against which kind of opposition, once he doesn't go in there, dominate and play in a certain style that is similar to the standard that you said he's deviated from, you will never be impressed.
That's not what I've said. You asked me, will they win the league? I said they won't, because they don't have enough in them beyond what is consistently working for them now.
Okay.
Right. Now you are asking the question. My answer to that is this. For a team that hasn't won the Premier League for that long, they are not in the position to then demand or perhaps determine that they want to play like Man City. The manager hasn't proven he's capable of that. So when he delivers it, they will enjoy it. I'm just saying to you that it will not happen.
Friends, I was going to say about the game, or football. Football is played over 90 minutes. Now, if you're a manager and you're going to a game like Man United against Arsenal, it doesn't matter how successful you are in any time. It's a clash that has history behind it. It's like a Manchester derby or Arsenal Chelsea. Like, you can't take it for granted that because you are in form, you have to overly go and assert your dominance. You have to be wise. Yesterday's game, look, Ruben Amorim got a lot of things wrong in that game. It's like he's a new manager, so nobody wants to say it. But Mikel Arteta also knew that he doesn't even understand what Ruben Amorim wants to do with the players on the pitch. Before kickoff, I'm telling you.
Now who knows?
Arsenal, but when you saw Man United's lineup,
3 games.
When you saw Man United's lineup, even after the 3 games, when you saw Man United's lineup, did you have an idea what Man United were capable of doing in the game? No, nobody knew. That's what I'm saying. Ruben Amorim to sometimes the overfigure. I'll come to him. But I like what Arsenal did, because this is where you test a team that has matured. Arsenal is going into a game being tagged as overwhelming favorites. I have seen teams who have ridden on that tag, have gone into games, have bossed themselves, and they've been too expansive and trying to win the game from the get-go.
Situ, I beg not to cut you. Typical example is Chelsea against Man United. Chelsea didn't know what United were going to do.
Yep.
They came there with their identity.
Yep.
And Man United intentionally made that game very chaotic.
Yep.
Forced Chelsea to play outside what they were used to. And United got a result.
Now,
sometimes you need to be smart.
Mikel Arteta comes into the game.
But
he's not trying to
my
ride
counter
on.
to that is that, how long has Enzo been at Chelsea?
It's not about how long.
It's
It's
not
coming,
about
I'm
how
coming.
not about how long.
Again, and I circle back to a point I made earlier. I will pardon that because Enzo is still figuring out the best idea of Chelsea.
No, let me give you an example. Simone Inzaghi had been with Inter Milan for 2 seasons, took them to the Champions League final. Pep Guardiola had been there for 6 seasons, took them to the Champions League final.
Pep changed.
When they got there, Pep realized that this is not what I expected of Inter. In-game management is what got Pep Guardiola to win the Champions League on the night. Look, Tuchel had just come to take Chelsea 2 days before Champions League final.
He beat Pep.
I mean, couple of months. I'm just
I get
saying.
it. 2 days. Literally 2 days.
Pep Guardiola had been there for 3 weeks. But he went to the Champions League final and he won by a goal to nil. In that game, City were overwhelming favorites.
Yeah.
In the game against Inter, City were overwhelming favorites. In fact, when City played in the FA Cup final against Man United only 3 days ago, Ten Hag beat him. Pep Guardiola. Why? Pep was overwhelming favorite. But on the day, what Eric Ten Hag did, had Pep Guardiola taken a step back, not overly be expansive and be on the front foot like that in the first half, the result would have changed. What Arsenal did in the game was maturity. Look, Arsenal comes into the game. Arsenal know the overwhelming favorites. They know they've got the crowd. but they know they don't have to win the game in the first minute. They know they don't have to win the game in the first half. What do they have to do? They have to study their opponents and wait for the moments to come. And this is why Arsenal's set-piece hack is a great weapon. See, there were days where anytime Man United got a free kick and there was David Beckham behind it, the whole England, even for the Three Lions, Beckham got the free against Greece and took them all the way to the World Cup. We are talking about set pieces. Man United fans are talking. You won the Champions League against Bayern from two set pieces.
Because of who?
Because you knew David Beckham was behind the ball.
2007 season. In fact, Man United literally won the league by shouting every corner, Vintage!
Bro, I'm saying that.
Vintage!
I'm telling you that when Cristiano Ronaldo was at his peak and was scoring free kicks, when you got free kicks from certain positions, it was a chance.
Messi.
It was a chance. Look, now what Arsenal have done is they will try to carve you open and score. But Arsenal are not playing the ball into hitting somebody for a corner. No. They are trying to create chances. Teams are trying to defend. And teams are... Onana is pointing balls to corner. What should Arsenal do? They are trying to dribble players and players are deflecting the ball to corner. What should they do? But they know they had 13 corners. Do you know the number of times teams have had 8 or more corners in games that they've not made the most of it? They scored twice. There were 2 other opportunities from Mourinho and then Partey.
Yeah.
Onana had to dig out about 3 from underneath his bar. That is a team that has turned a face of the game that otherwise is of no chance to almost a certainty. For me, it deserves more credit. Because look,
than criticism.
The Arsenal thing, the corner thing, I've been looking at it for a very long time. It is the quality of the cross from Saka and Rice. And
the delivery.
Bro, when
practice upon practice upon practice.
It can't be an accident. The headers, see, let me tell you, the headers that Arsenal, Gabriel and Co are scoring, they are easy headers. See, when they whip the ball into the areas, it's not even more than 5 yards. All you have to do is to get it on target. See, the crosses are so special. See,
go back to the review of the Man City game. You said that Arsenal are taking the same corners all the time, and you don't understand why teams are not able to to defend. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I didn't say I don't understand how teams are. I said I cannot accept how they allow the 2 players that block.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not the same.
No, we are trying to say the accuracy of it. That's why. That's your answer.
No, he's just trying to say that like you had an issue with teams not dealing with it.
Yes.
No, but
you see,
that's what he said. You took issue with the fact that it was the same, but teams were not dealing with it.
That's the point.
The same point.
The reason I liked what Arsenal did yesterday is, and I'll come to Amorim briefly, is in the second half. Look, United didn't play. See, it was all Arsenal. Arsenal were lucky enough to score from open play. In the second half, when they had understood what United were trying to do and they switched up, United were missing. Look, Ruben Amorim, this is the Premier League. You need to study your opponent. Arsenal came into the game without Calafiori and Gabriel. 2 players who play on the left-hand side of their defense. In this Man United team, the most informed player plays from that side. I can't, for the life of me, understand why.
Start with that.
He will start. Even if you want Mount to do a job, then Garnacho has no business being in the team.
Simple.
Mount plays on Garnacho's side.
On that side.
Ahmad
should have started.
Zinchenko wasn't comfortable. And they were not comfortable the whole game.
Play together.
Even when Ahmad came, and you see, that's why I like Arteta. He's pragmatic. When Ahmad came, he wasn't stubborn. Ahmad did one Kechebi to Zinchenko. He took Timber to the left, brought Partey to right back, brought in Mourinho. I realized that he needs somebody who can properly now defend.
Yeah.
Right? And at that point, the damage was already being done. So I can understand he wants to rotate. But we see when players pick form and momentum,
don't interrupt it.
Look, allow them. And for me, people are hyping Amorim. Yesterday, Amorim, I thought Arsenal were going to win. But the reason why Man United were blunt in attack was one. Højlund, no. I've said it already. He's not a Man United. See, he will score against Bodo Glimt. But when Man United have to go to places like Emirates, Etihad, Anfield, and they need one striker to tap home half a chance, he's not the guy. Yeah. Garnacho will never, in my opinion, be a good half-10 half. He's a proper forward-wide player. The only player, we said it before he came, who among the front line we thought could play that job is Ahmad. And Anthony there, if you train him, you go fit. And Ahmad has proven that on that side, he's comfortable coming in and going. Play him and let others learn from him. You get it? And you see, Arsenal came up against Man United team that was defending with back five. And they were patient. So I like the way Arteta won the game. But Amorim, no. Man wants to say so. This game, he could have done better with his front line selection. He could have done way, way better with the players he picked for the front line. And you see, another thing is...
Apart from Ahmad, is there any other option on the bench that gives more value than the ones who started?
I'm starting Rashford ahead of Højlund because, you see, I'm not expecting my striker to hold up the ball against Saliba. I'm expecting my striker to run.
Even with that, you could tell the clear plan was for him to hold it up and knock it off.
Yes.
The better striker in that position is not Højlund.
It's not Højlund.
Zexi is
would do a better job
at holding up.
But you see, for me, I wouldn't hold up a play against Arsenal. I want Saliba to run.
Runners, yeah.
I want somebody who can stretch them. So if I've got Ahmad and I've got Rashford and I want to balance it with Mount, fine. I want players who can make them run. Yesterday, Arsenal defenders were not running. They were not being stretched. Mount can't go. Garnacho was very uncomfortable in the position he was playing. And Højlund is always in front of his centre back. So in some way.
What's happening?
And for me, the other thing too, finally, that thing is, what was Martinez?
Suspension.
Because which other defender was available?
And Shaw got injured before the game.
Because Mazraoui doesn't have to play in that back three. He's an extra attacking player in more sense. I would play him as a wing back. Either left or right.
Other options?
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was asking. But yeah, if he had those options, Mazraoui offers him that
Europe perhaps should not have gotten any minutes yesterday at all.
Oh, but if he's returning, yes, maybe you want him to stretch his legs. And I thought he had a decent cameo.
Yeah. Guys, before we look at the Premier League matches coming up, the FIFA Club World Cup draw is in. Okay. The full group draw, 32 teams. Group A, Palmeiras, FC Porto, Al Ahly, Inter Miami. Home team.
Al Ahly to top the group.
Oh.
Al Ahly, Africa, Al Ahly.
Palmeiras,
FC Porto, Inter Miami.
Ali they play.
Group B has
Miami go chop last.
Group B has Paris Saint-Germain.
It's a competition.
Okay, penalty.
Group B has Paris Saint-Germain, Atletico Madrid, Botafogo from Brazil,
Why is it tough?
and Seattle Sounders from the USA.
That's some group.
Group C have Bayern Munich from Germany, Auckland City from New Zealand, Boca Juniors from Argentina, and Benfica from Portugal.
That's tough.
Bayern and Benfica. Bayern Boca, Group D, Flamengo, Brasilia, Esperance de Tunis.
Already 3 clubs from Brazil. Palmeiras, Botafogo, and then
Flamengo.
Yeah, Flamengo.
Flamengo, Esperance, Chelsea, and Club Lyon from Mexico.
Chelsea, easy.
Yeah, Chelsea to win this competition. Group E, River Plate, Urawa Red Diamonds.
I know them.
Monterrey from Mexico. Urawa Red Diamonds are from Japan.
Yeah.
You know
And Inter Milan, not Inter Miami. Inter Milan.
Inter Milano.
Group E. Group F, Fluminense, Brazil. That's another one, right?
Yeah.
Borussia Dortmund.
That's a lot.
Ulsan from South Korea.
Yeah.
And Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa. Group G, Manchester City, England. Wydad Casablanca, Morocco. Al Ain.
Pep against Pep wannabe.
UAE. Yes. I almost missed that.
I mean, not about coach.
Tlani. Rilani. Mokoena. And Juventus. So Man City, Wydad, Al Ain, Juventus. And Group H has Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Saudi Arabia.
What a game.
It could be you.
Rough.
Because Bogus day inside.
Hey, Al Hilal they play ball. I said Al Hilal they Champions League.
Then go shoot squad.
Pachuca.
Oh, we know them.
Mexico.
Yes.
Yeah, we know them.
And RB Salzburg.
How did he get inside?
How did Salzburg enter?
Benfica.
How Salzburg entered this competition?
Eh?
I don't understand how
Salzburg got into there.
Coefficient.
Which coefficient? They qualified and they play anything.
The American team said Seattle Sounders and all of those.
Oh, they win. They win.
Anyway, so the top two
CONCACAF.
teams,
Yeah.
the top two teams in each group will go straight to the round of 16.
It's like the old World Cup, no.
This competition
Yeah.
from the knockout rounds. That's when
They said they are struggling for TV sponsors somewhere.
Oh, they are.
Somewhere.
They do these people. They are not smart. In fact, they are not smart.
Yeah.
That's why
The
the free pass they are giving to Inter Miami. And
Forgive to somebody.
forgive to somebody.
Forgive to somebody.
yeah.
Forgive to somebody. Oh, Charlie.
All right, guys. Premier League football. Let's do quick preview and go. Okay, so here we go. Let's begin with the Saturday matches. All right, so just give me your quick prediction on the games and then we move on. Everton, Liverpool, Merseyside derby to start us off.
Liverpool are back to winning ways quick.
Yeah, Everton.
Oh, quick.
The most
But,
useless
but they had an impressive game in midweek. Huh?
Oh, forget about Wolves. We are talking about
They're going
Liverpool.
to it.
Oh,
Do
Okay,
you
you
remember?
agree?
Do you remember Liverpool?
If
win
Klopp
in-
was coach like Liverpool,
Do you remember an Everton win in?
I don't
be true.
remember. Oh.
I forget say last season. I tell you, say Everton will score them. Yeah,
Mm.
but the way this guy plays, yeah.
last slots. Coach. Second half. I don't want to
So-
go down. They all cry. Play.
The Newcastle game, the game B. Oh,
Change gear.
See, Liverpool.
Change
Liverpool are.
the game B.
It might sound weird and harsh, but crop this and put it somewhere. Liverpool are better coached now than they were a couple of years ago.
I mean, that's
Under
a,
Klopp.
There are some
well.
Liverpool fans
This
who
is what I
really
think.
believe.
That's-
Who I really agree with.
They are better coached. Like they are. The
My-
coaching is better.
My argument, my only thing about that is that we need to see it over
Over.
a
Yes.
period.
Yes,
So I think that's
yes,
the only thing I'll add
yes.
to it.
Hey,
But at the
hey,
moment,
slots. That's why I say. That's why people say, "Oh, Chelsea have gained some points on them." Arsenal. I'm like,
Slaughter is a very good
oh,
coach.
whatever. Liverpool. They will
So-
keep
so-
losing. You
Slot is a
lose.
very good
Okay.
Villa against Southampton.
Aston Villa. Back-to-back wins for them.
Villa win, home win.
Southampton are so
Yeah.
terrible.
Brentford, Newcastle. Newcastle no more ball. Kai. That goal that Isaac scored, no, the first goal.
Brentford, Newcastle, both teams to score.
But so that game, the goals.
Yeah, goals,
Give it
yeah.
goals.
The first goal,
Yeah.
I've seen
That's
goals.
how I like my goals.
Like the way he turned Van Dijk.
Let's fly.
The first start.
Bro.
He turned Van
Or
Dijk.
making red.
Wow,
But-
what is that? All right.
Kelleher, no. So wait.
Boga, nobody's saving that ball.
No,
Which
he
one?
was. No, that ball.
the two other
No.
goals,
It was
The
poor
second goal-
positioning.
Which one? The goal.
Even the first
Isaac
goal. The first goal.
Bro, let me tell you.
Guys.
See, the Isaac goal.
You don't
A lot of
understand
strikers
power,
are going to go the other way. They're going to go across him. He went to
But
the roof.
also,
oh.
no. I also felt like he
Near
was-
post roof. Oh.
He went to the roof.
With
oh.
power.
If you,
He went, no, like, I won't blame him.
Maybe they
No,
are
I'll blame him for the second goal and the
Yeah.
last goal. The last goal, he should have.
Last goal,
should have-
the Jimmy
Yes,
Sam.
yeah,
But
that
the
one,
first
yeah.
goal, they,
they go see him for
So
back.
Brentford, Newcastle over 2.5.
Oh, both teams to score.
Both teams to score.
And our favorite team is back to winning ways.
Man
Palace at home to Man City.
Palace or draw.
Two teams who struggled and got their
Palace or draw.
No, I think City will win.
Master, the goal of Maguire. The god of Maguire.
No, I think City will win.
I don't know.
Pep cannot see this. This is like, you know what has happened?
Fed,
The
you know what?
win that Pep Guardiola has recorded,
Yeah.
that is like holding a dog by the
Fed,
neck.
you didn't watch the game.
They didn't play
City
well.
were
oh.
It
poor.
doesn't matter.
It matters.
He'll be there.
Look,
The-
City were, they have no energy.
But Pep, he can
Chris
pretend.
Wood, Chris
Pep,
Wood.
he can pretend, pal.
City were poor. Serious, the three goal
He's
scorer.
our guy pass.
Did you read the comment he made about Kevin De Bruyne after the game?
Say if he's fit.
And the guy has been fit since 2nd of November. He's played all of 4 games. The most minutes he's had, I think, is 26 minutes or so. The City have played 6 games in that period. You've not started in any of them.
But do we know if he's very fit or is?
He's always been on the bench. He's always coming off the bench.
No, but he granted some interview.
My
and-
suspicion is
That he
that
was
there's
fit.
something.
No, saying something around the fact that he's not been like he's not felt himself.
Yeah, I
in
don't
the
think he's
yeah.
100% fit. But I think there's something between them anyway. I think there's
That-
something that has
that's
gone
my
on.
suspicion.
You
Yeah.
so you think
I've
Palace-
remembered. He said he was expecting this season to be
The contract
Yeah.
situation.
the contract
contract.
situation. He elaborated and said, but he didn't start the season where he got injured. He thought it was going to be a short period. He got injured for a while, so he'd be like, "He say."
Yeah, I think City is also Pep and City are being careful because
Preparing
the guy's
for-
injury record hasn't been good. Even though he's back, you don't want to throw him in, So I don't know.
So you say Palace or draw? You say what?
I think City, but I'm not sure to be honest.
Chance.
It's a game I'll skip. If I'm staking, it's a
Eh?
game I'll skip.
City.
Yeah, it's a game I'll skip.
Man United Forest
Old Trafford? At
Yes.
Old Trafford, I think Man United will win.
at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I think Man United will win.
Straight win.
United.
Yeah.
Straight win. Okay. Fulham Arsenal.
Landing down.
This season, I'm not sure what's going on with Fulham. Huh?
Very on and off.
Yeah, no
But,
consistency at all.
No, they didn't replace Paulinho.
Defensively, they are not the best.
They had a problem. Yeah, they didn't replace Paulinho. They have a problem with Andres Pereira because he granted an interview during international break that his Marseille move that fell through. If he comes again in January, he will go. So he was dropped from. But that one,
They got a decent draw against.
It's not something you say in an interview.
I was very impressed.
He was the presence of mind.
It's a sort
They
of
got a
things-
draw away at Spurs.
They should have won that game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was very impressed with them.
It's a
No,
sort
but
of
they're a very good side though.
Space.
Like
it's the sort of thing you say when like boys were having a conversation here,
Yeah, but
not in front of microphone and.
But isn't that the strangest thing about Fulham, right? They go and get such an impressive draw against Spurs. Before that, they lost at home to Wolves 4-1.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of form is that?
At the time of recording, they are playing Brighton. They lead by a goal to them. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how that game will
Still
end.
won.
But
So,
they have a
Arsenal
very,
straight win.
they have
I guess Arsenal Fulham. I think Arsenal are gonna win. Arsenal are gonna.
Actually,
last season they didn't lose to Arsenal.
Yeah, I remember that.
They drew 2-0 and then they beat Arsenal 2-1.
Last season, they were way better. They were
They-
playing way
Uh,
better than
yeah.
this.
so what does that tell you about this season then? You don't.
No, but
you still don't
the
trust.
context is what it should. So they didn't replace Adarabio, the kid who came to Chelsea. the
Yeah,
centre
yeah,
back.
of course.
And then Paulinho also left. Typically, if the manager restructures the
Was
team,
Willian there last season?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
that's all it is.
if he reshapes the team to accommodate those losses, no problem. But that has not happened this time. I think Arsenal will punish them for last season's
Ipswich, Bournemouth on Sunday.
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth win away.
Goals.
Go both teams. Just Sicho.
Which one?
Ipswich, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth to win.
Away from home.
Away.
What about Leicester, Brighton? Hey, Leicester. They're back to winning ways, huh?
Van Nistelrooy, man.
Yeah.
That was an impressive opening game.
The
Like,
guy was a team. No.
that's what I was going to say. Like,
Sisa team.
it was different.
They
Different,
destroyed West Ham.
It was different. But against Brighton
That's
are a
a
very
tough
good
one.
Money
side.
is on Brighton.
Tough one.
But
Huh?
at the Kimpa, that will be
Like
Kimpa.
That's his second game at home.
That will be a
Back-to-back
win
home
or
games.
draw. It's going to be a win or draw for.
I don't think.
I don't think Brighton will win.
The money is on Brighton. Win
I
or
don't
draw.
think Brighton will win.
Brighton to win. All right. I think the biggest game on paper on Sunday. Spurs against Chelsea, London Derby. Big one.
Over
Spurs have got a knack of doing well against big teams.
They do.
Right? They do very well against big teams because big teams don't like it when teams take the games to them. I don't know why. These days, big teams always train to break opponents down, but they never really train well to stop teams that throw bodies at them.
Yeah.
And Spurs would do that to you. So Spurs play well against Chelsea. They would play well against Arsenal at times. They would play well against City always. They'll play well against Man
Yeah,
United.
that's true.
And I
That's true.
suspect they'll do well against Chelsea. The problem, however, is without the two of their first choice centre backs, can they contain Chelsea's attack? Chelsea have got about the most exciting
They will score
attack now.
you. Like
Yeah, so
no matter what Chelsea.
Chelsea
That's
will get a
why
goal.
they are the top scorers in the league.
Yeah, Chelsea will get a goal. So I think there will be goals in here as to whether Chelsea are capable of winning. I think this is a game that will test Chelsea. I think it's going to be a draw based on how well they performed in some of these like big games. I think we probably will see a draw, but Chelsea surely will score.
Money is on Chelsea. I don't want to read too much into the big wins, the big game Spurs have won this season because, again, United are perpetually poor. They play City at a time when City were at their
They beat
lowest.
them twice.
I know. But for me, the league is where the meat of the matter was. But it was also within that period, right? At their lowest in a long time. So it's not a performance that I look or try to take too much from. My money is on Chelsea.
Over 2.5.
Goals. All right, guys, let's know what you think.
What's
that's-
happening in Spain? Who are Barca playing?
Hold on.
So
I think
Barcelona play Betis. That's a
yeah.
very good game.
Betis. What's
Yeah,
your
man,
money?
yeah.
What's your money on?
Girona.
Real Madrid will beat Girona, I think.
Okay.
Girona have not been.
And
Barca,
Betis,
Betis.
Barcelona.
Goals,
It's a tricky one, Charlie.
Goals,
That
2.5.
game will be true.
2.5.
True.
All right, cool.
Betis go fit
So
shot.
anyway, thank you guys. I think we've had enough this evening. Thank
Yeah.
you. Listen, short message to you. When you go out to vote on Saturday, while you are voting and listening to this podcast, or on your way you are listening, or you are waiting in the queue while watching, whatever be the case, just make sure that you vote, you go home peacefully. If you don't have any role to play at the polling station. When you vote, go home. You have a role to play it peacefully. I want to be able to go to work, come back here next Thursday to record this podcast. We beg you. We want, if you love and enjoy this podcast, let's have a peaceful election so that all of this can continue.
If you are in Medina, there are chances you meet Aju.
Yes. Yes.
You'll be
Are you
reporting from
Medina?
there.
Are you Medina?
Medina.
Yeah.
More like.
All
You
the
go
guys
in Nima.
all the guys.
I'm Mufta with Nima.
Yeah.
All the guys are going out.
Kolebu man probi.
Bolivia probably he's a Kwanakwe South.
No.
You did studio.
Ablekuma South,
Yeah.
sorry.
Akolebu is Ablekuma.
Yeah.
Ablekuma is huge.
Very, very.
Yeah, it's huge. Ablekuma South is Kolebu.
Man
I think
side
Bukom
there.
Boxing Arena is part, right?
No, that part's not the inside.
Okay.
It's part of it starts from you see when you turn right.
The road, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
on that
right,
side. All right, cool.
All the best to all of you. I can read elections, man. Good
Thank
luck.
you, man. I'll be in studio, so I'm hosting a segment.
So I'll be calling you guys for information. Charlie, what are you hoping for there?
Anyway, so you made your choice. Vote. Like I said, peace is the most important thing. At the end of this election, only one person must win. One political party must win, and that political party is Ghana. Only Ghana must win at the end of the whole election. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Sicho.
Thank you.
Thank you, Achu. And thank you to all our subscribers on YouTube, to all our listeners on the audio platforms as well, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. This has been another episode of Mallam Goal Podcast. I'm Fentio. We're back again next time. Until then, cheers and bye-bye.